and there's football. I shall call it Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for all things football. The Fan. If athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a man of fine taste and Montana class.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally.
An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are, I'm him. Shut up. Are you kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player.
You were saying the Olympics wasn't interesting you yesterday. Well, can I offer you 50 seconds of interest?
50 seconds of interest is a similar pitch I make to my girlfriend on a nightly basis.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's do it live on a Football Friday edition of the program. No Buckeyes this weekend, but a lot of football to get to. And, of course, this bye week actually makes a little bit of sense, guys, as we're halfway home. So there's a lot to examine in terms of where we are in college football, where this Buckeye team is at the midway point of the season with Nebraska looming next week. Doug Lesmerises going to drop by at 11:33. We will know the scores at 11 o'clock. College football halfway. We will hit that at 10. It is the Battle of Ohio. Both the Bengals and Browns in absolute must-win mode. The Browns are building a dome. I believe I told you that like 6 months ago that that's going to be a dome in Brook Park. Sometimes your Uncle Bo knows what's going on. Kids, pay attention to the scores on that. Ryan Day with some thoughts on his Buckeyes from the show yesterday at 9:33 as well. I think it's. I never in a million years thought we'd be on a Football Friday doing what I'm going to do right now, but quite honestly, it demands it. Mm-hmm. It might have been the best baseball game I've ever seen. So, for point of reference, the greatest baseball game I ever saw, it was the Kirk Gibson home run in '88. That's the one. Mm-hmm. That was the one. I was a Dodgers fan as a kid, and that's the one that stuck out to me as a kid. That was the greatest baseball game I've ever seen. I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't know if the game was all that great, because I was 10, so I don't know if maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but the ending was damn cool to hit that home run off Dennis Eckersley. The one last night felt like it usurped it just when you started to think of all of the things that happened. The idea that the Yankees got to Class A, and you thought, well, okay, that's it. They got to him. And their big Goliath home run hitters both hit jacks off him, and you go, well, that's it. If those guys can get to him, that's the end of it. And then you get the home run in the bottom of the 9th, and then you get the home run in the bottom of the 10th, and then you get a walk-off. You get a walk-off home run to win it. It's as good as I've ever seen. Tim May is here. Eric Reeser is here, of course. Reese is the diehard Guardians fan, and I know Tim watched it closely. Your son Corey's huge Guards fans. I know that for sure.
He was
in there. He was in the house.
Yes.
So he saw maybe the greatest baseball game ever played.
He was over the moon, so to speak. I mean, he sent me video of the celebration, and I think everybody was in disbelief. You know, the interesting thing was how many people had left or were leaving. You know, and some of them turned around. I hadn't
thought of that.
Yeah, some of them turned around, tried to get back in, I guess, and things like that. But yeah, Corey, man, good for him. The Guardians. I'm sorry, buddy. The Freudian is always there, but the
it's
Guardians,
an acceptable slip.
The Guardians finally came through for him and for your man Eric Reeser.
Reese, when Judge and Stanton go yard,
I clean the bathroom.
That's what I thought.
I'm about ready to rage quit. I had it on, but I was just finding other things to do because as soon as Stanton follows up Judge, I'm like, well, that stinks. And
Palinone, I think is what you call it.
You're starting to you putter around because you feel, like you said, if they go back-to-back on Emmanuel Clase, who was the best pitcher in the American League this entire season, and yes, better than Tarek Skubal, but then, with these guys, John Kenzie Noel cracks a no-doubt shot. You're back in a little bit. You're like, all right, let's see if they can maybe get some magic going in extra innings. And then I was ready to come in this morning, I'll tell you this, and scream at Stephen Vogt about the Nailers, about Josh and about Bo Naylor. I had a monologue ready as I'm scrubbing the toilet. I'm saying, if you, Stephen Vogt, have Josh Naylor in this lineup, you're not serious about winning Game 4, and you're not serious about avoiding the sweep. And then Rocchio connects with Naylor, and they get a huge out late in the game to where Naylor's got to almost do the splits on first base. And then Bo Naylor leads off the 10th with a single, and then they manage to move him around the bases. And then David Fry steps up to the plate at the bottom of the 10th inning. I'll hand things off to Tom Hamilton on the Cleveland Guardians radio network.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to left. There she goes. How about that? A walk-off, two-run home run to the bleachers and left by David Fry. And the magical 2024 season is not done by any means. Cleveland with a 7-5 10th inning win.
And just like that, you have hope.
So here's the thing, and those who listen regularly know, I just don't have the head space to watch baseball the way that I used to when I was a kid. I don't. Football certainly pays the bills. It takes up the majority of our time. As a collective, the audience, in terms of what you're all watching, football is the driving force. But there is a time of year where you can jump on a bandwagon with something like this and become completely enthralled with it. And the thing that is so cool about it with baseball is you've got to get all the outs, Tim.
Yeah.
There's not a clock. You have to get 27 outs.
What did I say yesterday?
If you don't get the 27 outs, you've got a chance, and it doesn't matter how many runs you're down. You can always make a go of it. And to do that off of Weaver, the same way the Yankees did it off of Clase. My kids played lacrosse. They made the decision when they were young, and so they don't watch much baseball either. Quite honestly, it's funny watching with them because they don't understand the rules really of it because they haven't played since they were like first graders. But they're all in. And Reese texted me. Reese and I were texting last night. He goes, "You let them watch?" And I let them watch. Of course, I let them watch. Like it was one of those moments where you see the magic that baseball still has.
Yeah.
It's the outs, I think, that's the key to it, because at any moment it can flip.
One swing of the bat. I mean, that's what we were talking about the Indians Tigers. One swing of the bat changed everything for the Guardians. One swing of the bat, or actually a couple swings, but one swing of the bat really flipped it, last night. And the thing about it is, Bo, you've been to, just like Eric and definitely I, been to enough big-time events where stuff happened where you can live vicariously, when you're watching something like that. You get the chill bumps. I mean, I just got him again listening to Tom Hamilton's call. For number one, I think he's one of the best in the business. And number two, I remember drinking beer with him in the in Franklin County Stadium press box well after games were over when he was plying his trade trying to become a star. And I just feel good for a guy like that, getting a call, something like that this late in his career and stuff. Yeah, you live vicariously in these things. But number three, baseball, there were 2 outs last night. I mean,
that's right, buddy.
There were 2 outs
in the bottom of the 9th.
I mean, the warden's waiting for the call from the governor, and it's not coming, right? And then it came, ding-a-ling-a-ling, and he was, and the switch was halfway down. I don't want to be graphic, but it was.
Yeah,
and
it was.
Boom, light. There's life, and baseball can deliver that maybe better than any other sport, because with 2 outs, people are headed for the exits. Many of them are probably already in their car, and they're going, "Oh my goodness, I'm going to tell people I stayed, but I didn't."
You're 100%
they're making up their own story as it goes. It's crazy, but good for my son Corey getting to see something like that because he deserves it.
Yeah, you go through a lot as a Cleveland sports fan, and there's a lot there. And you choose. And down here, we can pick whatever teams we want, but that's one that obviously there's a lot of there. And I do think it is unique only to baseball, and I think it's the 27 outs. I think that's the thing.
I agree.
Everything else you got a clock. There's but that one you have to accomplish those outs.
I think that's where "it ain't over till the fat lady sings" came from. And definitely baseball. You wouldn't say that in football.
It's funny. I watched none of the football game last night. I watched the 2 baseball games, and as I mentioned, kid grew up a Dodgers fan. The Dodgers that I loved as a kid are not these Dodgers.
No.
Like, they weren't this wealthy, rich, bombshell Dodgers team. It was a family-run operation when I liked the Dodgers.
Well, the ones I watched had Koufax and Drysdale on them.
It's an iconic organization, but they were never the Yankees. They weren't like what this is, where they spend the money like this. So I watched a little bit of that, and then I watched the Jackets. And so mixed feelings on this. First of all, the way they're playing is awesome. It's fun. They've got 2 games already this season of 6 goals.
Yes.
That's crazy. So that's awesome. That's Dean Evison. That is youth being, growing up on the fly, on the ice. And I don't think they're a playoff team. I don't know if they'll be there, but I think on a given night, you're going to get what you've gotten so far early this season. But the mixed emotions because of the injury to Kent Johnson.
Yeah.
He's a stud, and he was playing the way that he was drafted to play. And it seems pretty ominous. I haven't seen any reporting this morning in terms of it. I just saw Evison's comments from last night, how it looks like it's pretty significant. And it was such a silly injury, just a crazy collision. And that part sucks because he has been extraordinary to start this season. And I just hope he gets back soon because they've had bad injury luck already this year. Boone Jenner out until they're hoping to have him back for the game at Ohio Stadium.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing about hockey, just like football, man. When you strap on the helmet, luckily they wear helmets now in hockey, but when you strap on the helmet, anything can happen. And even in practice, and it bums you out. But the flip side of it is, like I was talking to Jody Shelley, I was asking him yesterday, I mean, you like this style that they're playing. It's like, it's like bombing runs, in World War II. You're going for it, and the other people are shooting back at you, but you're going for it. And you got to like that style if you're a fan, I would think, instead of like playing conservative, skating around in the midsection or where you want to call it, between the blue lines. I mean, you've got to like the way this team is attacking. And because remember the old Takuma Sato line about he's won Indianapolis, a couple times, and his line was no attack, no chance, and that seems to be the style of Blue Jackets are playing with, and you can get behind something like that.
Yes, you can. The question will become as we turn the page to this weekend and the football, and we'll keep you updated if we hear anything on Johnson. But it doesn't look good, is kind of the idea. But if something comes down this morning, we'll pass that along to you. There is a Battle of Ohio between the Bengals and the Browns set for Sunday. All in the backdrop of all of this, the Cleveland Browns are getting a dome. It's officially official now. We'll get to all of that and just a monster game up in Cleveland this weekend for both of those teams' hopes. We'll get to it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Now is a great time to start your holiday shopping at Meijer. Save big this week with our early holiday deals. Save $40 on a Gourmet air fryer. Save $30 when you buy a Keurig K-Slim single-serve coffee maker. And for the competitive ones on your gift list, select board games are 20% off. Shop even more great gift ideas like these in the Meijer Holiday Gift Guide. Available on Meijer.com, in-store, or in the Meijer app. Exclusions apply.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where Ohio Basement Authority comes in, a groundworks company. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards. Schedule your free inspection at ohiobasementauthority.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details. Just how liberal could Sherrod Brown be? What are his actual votes?
Well, he backed bills to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports and let transgender biological men into girls' locker rooms and girls' bathrooms.
Very liberal.
Brown supported allowing children to receive puberty blockers and even sex change surgery.
Super liberal.
And worse, Brown even voted to allow late-term partial birth abortions, a procedure where the baby is partially delivered alive. That's right. Brown's votes for partial birth abortion are in the congressional record. And Sherrod Brown voted to allow this terrible procedure, not once, not twice, but 6 different times over 8 years.
That's radical liberal.
Sherrod Brown has let us down. He's just way too liberal for Ohio.
Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
It's Sunday Night Football on the Fan. Catch the Jets and Steelers from Yinzerville. Live coverage starts Sunday at 7:30.
Sponsored by Roosters, a fun casual joint.
Your radio home of the NFL, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Welcome, Columbus, to the all-new Toyota Direct. We've expanded our showroom, enhanced our service with 6 lanes, 85 bays, and 65 techs. Enjoy the new lounges with all of the comforts and extras. And now get 0% for up to 72 months on 100% of all new 24 and 25 Toyotas. Come see your all-new Toyota Direct, the area's #1 Toyota dealer.
0% for 72 on a new 24 Tundra with approved credit. Max financed MSRP on vehicle. Cannot combine offers. Must take delivery from dealer stock by 10/31/24. See dealer for details.
There's always time for the drive-thru deal. Because no matter how fast you are at making breakfast, McDonald's is faster.
Wake up to McDonald's breakfast and mix and match a classic sausage McMuffin, delicious sausage burrito, or crispy hash browns. Get any two for just $3. Order ahead in the app and pick up curbside. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You know, Ohio's Supreme Court makes headlines for the wrong reasons. They even ruled it's okay for boneless chicken wings to have bones that can choke kids.
But we can stop their extreme one-party politics by voting for Mike Donnelly, Melody Stewart, and Lisa Forbes for Ohio Supreme Court.
Right. Ohio's newspapers say Donnelly, Stewart, and Forbes are the clear choice.
We need an experienced, independent court we can trust. And Donnelly, Stewart, and Forbes will judge the Reproductive Freedom Amendment fairly and honestly, protecting our rights, safety, and families.
Ohioans deserve independent justice, transparency, and equal treatment under the law. That's why we really need Donnelly, Stewart, and Forbes to provide checks and balances.
Don't stop fighting for your rights, freedoms, and choices. But do remember to vote for Mike Donnelly, Melody Stewart, and Lisa Forbes.
Paid for by Donnelly for Supreme Court, Stewart for Ohio Supreme Court, and Forbes for Justice.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, sunny with a high of 62. Not quite as cold tonight, but still cold enough for the winter jacket. Lows in the low to mid 30s. Tomorrow afternoon, we are up near 70. And then on Saturday, we're looking at sunny skies, high 71. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
An ex-jock and a very puffy, smooth-faced man. These are the first voices you should hear. Morning Juice.
Your wake-up service. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan. Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hey, Reese, what is the ALCS schedule? I know tonight, right? And then
tonight and then tomorrow. So you'll have Game 5 on Saturday. Game 6, I think, Monday, if necessary. Game 7 looks Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
So the middle 3 are all in Cleveland?
Yep.
Okay. That city's going to be on fire then. So you've got...
Like in a good way? Like so hot?
No.
Great?
I don't mean literally.
Like,
I hope
not the river. Not the river.
No, the river's been cleaned. So it's all cleaned. It's all good now. So you've got Friday, Saturday, that, and then you've got Bengals, Browns, Sunday. I think, is it Rock Hall weekend too?
That sounds about right.
I have no idea.
It's a lot going on.
I always watch it again on HBO.
Yeah, it's good on HBO. The great Tim May in with me today on a Football Friday. The Sunday game up there is obviously a must-win for both of them between the Bengals and Browns. You can listen to it right here on The Fan. Coverage starting at 11 a.m. with the game at 1 o'clock. Must-win for both. Cincinnati can ill afford to drop to 2-5. The Browns absolutely have to get to 2-5 if any hope, if there is still any hope for saving that season. Joe Burrow has struggled big time up against Cleveland, 1-5 all time. He was available earlier this week and talked about the challenges the Browns present.
Yeah, this is one that we need. It's going to be a very similar game to last week. Really good defense, great front, good secondary. So we're going to have to be smart with the ball. Take our explosives when they're there, stay on track, can't get behind the sticks because of how good their front is. It'll be a challenge, but we're going to be ready for it.
The sense of urgency in Cincinnati, very real as well. The crazy thing is Burrow has been lights out. He leads the NFL in passing. He's been as good as can be. Jamar Chase is off to one of the best starts of his career, and yet the wins haven't come. The last time they won 17-7 over the Giants, it was the defense that finally showed up, and maybe that is a harbinger of things to come. Certainly Bengal fans hope so, but sense of urgency, yeah, you bet. Here's Burrow.
Yeah, it's very important. We know what they like to do offensively. We know what they like to do defensively. They like to run the ball and they like to rush the passer. And so if we can get out on them early, it kind of makes them play the game a different way than they have against us the last several years. So, we'll play the game however it ends up playing out. And we'll be ready for it. But just like every week, you want to get off to a fast start.
That was him talking about the Browns. Here's Burrow on that sense of urgency.
Ideally we'd be 6-0, but that's not where we're at. And that's just the way this year has played out. There's a lot of urgency in the building to go and win games. I think guys are handling it the right way. We had a good day of work today. It's really just about practicing and trying to get better every day. It sounds cliche, but that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I'm not worried about them at all. I know it's 2-4, but wow. I think they got him. I know their defense has got issues, but in juxtaposed to what Cleveland's dealing with.
Yeah, I don't see the magic there right now for the Bengals. You know what I mean? And
you see it offensively though, right, Tim?
Nah, sometimes and sometimes not. And it only takes one whiff on a pass rush to change their fortunes, and then of course that's with any team. But I don't see that. I guess my problem is I'm looking at them. I don't see a Super Bowl team right now, and
I think that's fair.
And that's kind of, I don't know. I thought they'd be better than this year right out of the gate, and they haven't been. And the close ones are the ones you got to win, to make the difference and all that cliche stuff. It's really funny when you listen to Joe talk. I've always liked Joe Burrow, since he was like 16, 17 years old, first met him, but. Sounds like his dad a little bit. His dad was a football coach. And it basically, we like to glamorize everything, but it comes down to basic stuff, getting done, fundamentals. And there are some things that they've let slide, not necessarily, and obviously not on purpose, but let slide in games. And it bites them right in the rear end at the wrong time. So maybe they can turn it around, get the little juggernaut going. But as I like to say, they're two G's in juggernaut. Well, right now there's, the Burrows are looking for that G.
They are. By the way, I saw his dad put an image up of him with a touchdown run in third grade.
Yeah.
I had no idea, third grade youth football in Athens gets to play at Peden Stadium.
Oh, yeah. I mean, small towns.
Unbelievable.
Small towns do it right, brother.
They trot him out.
I remember when I first moved up here.
Third graders.
When I first moved up here, we used to play pickup games on Ohio Stadium. That's when you got fuzz over a parking lot, which is what that AstroTurf was. I keep bringing that up. I don't know if you noticed or not, but
I did. Yeah.
You can go out there and play all night and all day. I mean, they had those little lights on the edge of C-Deck, and it was fun times, man. But yeah, back in the small towns, a lot of things happen that don't happen in big towns.
Cleveland's got a lot going on. They've got the return of Nick Chubb. I get asked this a lot. What do you expect out of Nick Chubb? Let's have him answer it. What does Nick Chubb expect out of Nick Chubb on Sunday?
I want to do whatever I can to go out there and help us win on Sunday. However that looks like. If I'm just bringing energy to the crowd, if that helps us win, then I'm all for it.
Pretty illuminating, I think, there. Last part, if I'm just bringing energy to the crowd, he's going to bring a lot of energy to the crowd. So the way they do starting lineups, they rotate offense or defense in the stadium. You don't see it on television, but in the stadium. So the last time that they were home, they did the defense. So they're scheduled to do the offense. Typically, the quarterback goes last. That will not be the case, obviously, on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I'm just, do you whisper Deshaun Watson's name and then quickly go right to Nick Chubb?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
It's going to be a chorus of boos to
That's what I would do. I'm telling you, I don't think the Browns understand what they're kind of up against right now. And I'll state the obvious. My wife watches a lot of football, but she does not like the Browns when Deshaun Watson is playing for them. And they've got a problem with that. I don't know if they understand that or not. But then when you pile on the fact he's not playing well at all, he's playing almost as bad as any quarterback in the league who's a regular. They've got a fan problem. I truly believe that. But yes, getting Nick Chubb back, the gasoline really for that car, could help get them going, could help jumpstart them. But
I would expect him to be about 70% of what he was.
Yeah, I know. Who knows,
I saw him
right?
in practice this week.
Yeah.
He looks like Nick Chubb in practice. I think the thing that is going to be the thing that's going to be interesting is I think in a straight line, my hunch is that this is my guess. I think he's going to play a lot like Kareem Hunt played a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Like he's going to be short yardage, straightforward, hit a hole. I don't think you're going to see him. He was so great at hitting a hole and then bouncing it.
Yes.
I don't. He doesn't bounce. A lot of running backs want to bounce it right away. He would hit the hole and then bounce it.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see him just hit the hole and go straight.
It was a classic. It was a classic
Probably.
style because you knew you had to gird up to hit him in the hole, and all of a sudden he's bounced out. So, I mean, it was a great combo. I mean, watching him run was a thing of artistry because he knew what he brought to the table, like a cannonball that suddenly curves right, or left. And you're right. I mean, that's if the curves aren't there, just like with a major league pitcher, you might have some problems. And if people can just load up on you, and that's what you worry about because the Bengals are going to test him too, And
the way to take him down is low. That's how he got hurt.
Right.
And that's what Minka did on that
That's
hit.
what I'm talking about.
It wasn't a dirty hit. It just is what it is.
Right.
Real quick, we got about 30 seconds here. I just wanted to bring to light the dome in Brook Park. That obviously that became official yesterday that's happening. I've been talking about that for months, obviously, here on the show that was the reality of it. I think it was laid out, and you can say whatever you want about Haslam's or whatever. I think the real truth was in that piece that they told. Yeah. And I think that there was a chance, and I think they really wanted to keep it downtown, but it came to a point where financially it makes no sense to try to do it down there.
Should have built a dome in the first place. I had that argument with people a long time ago.
Yeah, when Lerner brought them back.
So many more big events in downtown.
Yeah, they will get that. I think it'll be a host site for Big Ten championship games. I think they'll get a Super Bowl. I think they'll get all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
They will build a gorgeous cathedral for football. They will do that without question. Ryan Day, halfway point for the Buckeye season. This bye week actually makes sense. We'll get into that and where the Buckeyes stand at the halfway point coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Are Men and Bone stupid in real life? Yes. Yes, they are. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
Bring the thrill of the stadium to your wallet with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the only checking account that rewards you for being a Crew fan. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
85% of people will experience foot pain in their lifetime. Long-term remedies are scarce. Good Feet Art Supports from the Good Feet Store can help. They are designed to relieve common foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, and they also improve balance and comfort. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com, and use promo code JUSTSPORTS to get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just a slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Did you know we have another station? More Buckeyes, more play-by-play, more everything.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2 or listen on the Fan app.
Your home for almost too much football. The Fan.
This year's starting lineup at Honda Marysville is as strong as ever, so come see us.
Choose from Ohio's largest selection of Hondas and get 0% for 60 on any new CRV, HRV, Passport, Pilot, or Ridgeline with the trade.
Honda's built here, Honda's sold here. Honda Marysville. We're closer than you think.
0% with approved credit and 80% of MSRP financed. 2010 or newer trade with KBB appraisal at $2,500 or more. Must take delivery from dealer stock 10/31/24.
There was a time where I woke up every day and my knee kept bothering me. I wondered, would it ever get better? I'd like to go out and run. I'd like to go play golf. I'd like to hang out with my friends at the pool, go off the diving board, play with my kids, do the stuff that I wanted to do. I looked at having surgery, thought that's not the answer. Don't want to do that. I've had plenty of surgeries in my life. I didn't want to be on medication and just keep pounding ibuprofen and pain pills. That wasn't going to be the answer. So I want to get real, lasting relief. As thousands of patients will tell you. So I went over to QC Kinetics and talked to Dr. Ray Tesner. I even brought my dad with me and said, hey, he's got a bad knee too. He's at a little later stage in life. Could this work for him? QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in cellular therapies, including your own body's healing properties. That's what I wanted, to get healed up and do it the natural way. The choice is yours. So go check them out at qckinetics.com/Columbus. They've got offices in Dublin and in Gehenna, or call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable. And one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Check this out, the new iPhone 16 built for Apple Intelligence. At Verizon, you can get it when you trade in any phone from one of their top brands.
Any?
Any.
Even if it's 4 years old?
Yeah.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk?
Yep.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk, then a scooter runs it over, so now it's not just old and cracked, but shattered?
With Verizon, the answer is always yes. Trade in any phone from one of our top brands for the new iPhone 16 with Unlimited Ultimate. Plus, get a new iPad. Trade-in terms apply. See Verizon.com for details. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? Super Juice.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Football Friday edition of the program. No Buckeyes this weekend. The bye week coming off of the loss to Oregon and before the game next week against Nebraska, and then that stretch run, which ought to be very, very fascinating. Ryan Day's had the week to sit back and reflect. He was on his show yesterday and spoke about how the week has gone trying to get over the Oregon loss.
The focus is now moving forward on where we're at, where we're going. Get the things that we got to get fixed. Certainly. You want to win in games like that, you got to win the turnover battle. We got to win the turnover battle, and we didn't do that. We didn't win the rushing yards. We gave up too many explosive plays, so those things have to get fixed. And you stew on it for a while, you keep working at it, but then eventually you got to move on. You start focusing, moving forward, because when you look at where we are moving forward, we got 6 games here in the second half of the season, and if you can go win those games, then you're right back where you need to be. So a lot to learn from, but we got back at it yesterday, and we'll get back at it again today.
One of the big topics of conversation this week has been Dan Lanning's 12-man penalty. Urban even referred to it on his podcast as he's playing chess, not checkers, was Urban's way of categorizing that. They got it fixed. The NCAA fixed it this week. It's done. Once that penalty is now assessed, the opposing team can decide if they want to put the clock back to what it was before the snap. So they got it fixed in short order. It'll go into effect right now. Ryan was asked about it. This is the first time I've heard him asked about it. Here's Ryan Day on Oregon's 12-man penalty.
And you look at it, really, if Will decided to work the boundary in that moment right there, we still had Carnell available there, and so I don't know how much that really had an effect on the play, but yeah, and actually, it kind of moved us towards being able to kick a field goal anyhow. But I do think that the right thing to do is to put the time back on the clock.
And you were screaming that right at the sidelines. I mean, right away you saw 12 men identified. You're talking to the linesman over there trying to get his attention. Can that be, something before the ball snaps? Can they call that, or do they just have to wait till it proceeds?
Yeah, I asked that question, to the head of the refs here, and they said no, they wouldn't blow it dead unless they saw it in back-to-back snaps. So, even if you were to call a timeout or something, that wouldn't work. So there's not much you can do there.
Well, I don't understand that last part unless it happened in back-to-back snaps.
Well, that would mean clear intent. Is what basically what they're meaning. And it's like we talked about yesterday. Until the play starts,
Sure.
you don't have you don't have 12 men on the field. You have the guys on the field, and then all of a sudden the play starts, and now you're playing with too many guys, and that's why it was a kind of a gray area. And I think we talked about that yesterday. But Urban can say what he wants. That's like drawing a card from the bottom of the deck. The way I look at it, more than chess. And
well, just add the line to it, though. It's like drawing a card from the bottom of the deck before anybody said that it was illegal to do so.
Correct. Yeah, but it always is,
It's the wrong thing.
It's not ethically correct.
It's not,
let's put it that way.
Your ethics are in question, but it wasn't illegal for sure to be able to do it.
And I don't even know.
I think, honestly, Tim, it's kind of overshadowed what happened in the game. And one of the things I said Saturday night it's funny, like after I got done watching it, I'm disappointed in the way that it finished. Mostly I was disappointed for Will Howard because that Will Howard was exceptional in the game. And I thought that knowing a Buckeye Nation and knowing how people act, and when you play quarterback at Ohio State, you're going to suffer the slings and arrows when things don't go well. But I thought he was largely exceptional in the game. I really was. And I thought that the end of it was something that it just sucked that it ended that way. But then, Tim, my next thought was, man, that was one of the greatest college football games I've seen.
Well, that's what I keep telling you.
It had everything. Yeah. I just thought it was like two heavyweights, and I kept trying to make this point that Oregon is one. If you all let's go back to August. Play along with me. There were 4 teams that we all identified, those of us who love the sport and cover it and follow it.
There you go, yeah.
That were the most talented. And it was Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, and Georgia. Yeah. Those were the 4 that you looked at and said they got everything that you need. It was those 4. Both Ohio State and Oregon went into the portal for quarterbacks. They got Big 12 quarterbacks to come in and play.
Yep.
They hit the portal in a very precise way, Tim. It wasn't just take everybody. It's take specific pieces to come in and kind of accentuate what you have. In a way, Oregon and Ohio State, it was a mirror. You're looking at each other. They are absolutely on your level, and it's something that I think folks aren't quite used to because they're Oregon. You think you can just bully them, but we should have known that from 2021 that they've come a very long way as a program. So
I agree.
I came away with it, Tim. It sucks that it didn't go the way that that you wanted it to go, but at the same time, it was a hell of a college football game on a Saturday night.
Too bad I should have brought the sound in because I was out talking to Cody Simon. We only got to talk to 2 players, and Cody Simon was outside while Will Howard went inside this tent. You should have been there, Bo. You would have been freaking out about the logistics of interviews. But that's another story. I don't know if they're building a facility for the opposing team for post-game interviews, but a tent with their crowd and band still playing is not it. It's not the dream scenario.
No, that isn't.
But I asked Cody Simon that very thing. I said, I'm paraphrasing here, but you were just part of a instant classic game. But when you're on the losing end of it, you don't feel like that at all, And Ohio State's been on the winning end of some of those, like that Rose Bowl a couple of years ago, and right on down the line. You're exactly right. It was a classic game in the sense there were mistakes made by both teams. There were big plays made by both teams. In the end, both teams had a chance to win it, but Ohio State fell short. And here's the thing I'll say about the laying thing again. The funny thing about that being called a chess player or a genius is it was a 5-yard penalty, which moved Ohio State back from the 43 to the 38-yard line, which is a much more conceivable, makeable field goal. It would have been like a 55-yard field goal. Yeah. So I don't know how genius that was when you really break it down, but Ohio State elected to go for it,
He must have, I don't know if he... Yeah, I don't know if he was very confident that Ohio State would not attempt a 55-yard field goal.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. You're trying to think like the other guy. I mean, and here's my point. I mean,
do you think that what would have been the number? What was interesting is Ryan said at post game that he said, the 28 they needed 15 yards. So he was saying that after the 5-yard penalty. So that puts you at the 38. So 15 yards would get you to the 23. Yeah. And Will said 10 yards. And
10 yards.
10 yards. Yeah, I'm sorry. So that was the 28, which is where they actually were.
Correct.
When they threw the ball to Jeremiah Smith, which is the irony of all of it, is just run the ball twice in the middle, take a timeout.
Bingo.
Kick a 40-yard field goal and win the damn game.
When I'm reevaluating that game and I'm Ryan Day, I don't care what happened after the first down at the 28 in terms of what you did. This is what you should have done. You know, understand what I'm saying? And
I do, yeah. And Tressel would have ran it twice to the middle and called a timeout and kicked the field goal.
I don't know why they opted to try to get 5 or 8 or 10 more yards. I mean, it's not going to, it doesn't add to your merit badge for winning that game. And you may crack one if you run it, but don't go backwards. And the old
heck, Will Howard could have ran keepers.
The old Woody Hayes 3 things happen when you throw it and 2 of them are bad. Well, it's actually 4 things happen and 3 of them are bad, as we found out, because offensive pass interference is a huge penalty. I mean, it's
so punitive.
Oh, it's so punitive. It's kind of ridiculous how punitive it is. And whereas defense, you can grab a guy when he's on a breakaway and still be only a 15-yard penalty. So they need to readdress that, for example. But the bottom line is they got to the 28, more than makeable, very easily makeable field goal situation, and decided, for want of another term, to get a little greedy. And that's my take on it. And
I agree.
We can argue forever on that, I'm sure.
There's not much of an argument you're going to get from me, because I think that's, even in the moment, I'm sure you were doing it in the press box. I'm doing it watching on TV going, wait, what?
What are you doing?
What are we doing here?
That's exactly
we got a timeout.
what I
We're at the 28. We won the game. Let's just go kick the field goal and win the game. Let's get the hell out of here with a win. And so because of that, did not happen. And this is, yes, are all of the Buckeyes' goals still ahead of them? Absolutely. But now the margin for error is much more thin. We will get into that and where this Buckeye team is at the midway point coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
The meatloaf!
The Fan.
From the mind of a 2-foot-tall talking spokes puppet comes this year's biggest challenge. It's time for Bob's Dare to Compare, the hottest game show on TV that asks, what happens when you compare Bob's to the competition? You get style. You get quality. You get beeps and boops and dings and whomps. And thousands of dollars in savings. Everyone's a winner when you dare to compare with Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in store or at mybobs.com to play now. It's Rocktober, baby!
It's Rocktober at Lindsay Honda.
Just announced for the rest of October, we're lowering the finance rate to 0.9% on every new Lindsay Honda. And you still get the Lindsay Honda difference. A $1,295 value package included with every vehicle purchase.
This is it.
Turn up the noise with Lindsay Honda.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24 and 25 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
Every time I go to get groceries, it's so expensive. It's all changed so much in such a short time because of the Democrats' inflation. As a single mom, sometimes it's hard to put food on the table for my family. Sherrod Brown has only made the problem worse. Brown put Kamala's radical agenda before us and voted for her Inflation Act. Now we're stuck with the consequences, and prices are at a 40-year high. But it's an election year. He's pretending to fight for us. Well, where was Brown's help before? Sherrod Brown's shown he will only hurt families like mine. That's why I'm supporting Bernie Moreno. Together with President Trump, Moreno will fight to lower prices on groceries for families and stop Brown and Kamala's skyrocketing inflation. I trust Bernie Moreno and President Trump to always put America's families first.
I'm Bernie Moreno, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Bernie Moreno for Senate and NRSC.
Join Skip Mossick, Paul Keels, and Jim Lachey for 2 whole hours of Scarlet and Gray goodness.
Thank you, football guy.
Buckeye Roundtable, Monday night at 6.
Presented by Burger King.
Your flagship home for Ohio State athletics. The Fan.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Ready to hit the road in a new car? With Pathways, enjoy up to 90 days with no payments and low auto loan rates. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
The Christmas cash giveaways now at UDF. With UDrive Plus, 1 in 7 can play to win prizes instantly, including $1,000 weekly by buying specially marked items at UDF. No purchase necessary. Visit udrivecontest.com for official rules.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BREAK to 321-321. That's BREAK to 321-321.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
And Tim Bayan with me on a Football Friday edition of the program. Reese here as well, of course. Halfway point. This bye week actually makes sense for the Buckeyes, unlike the one that was earlier in the season, which was, quite honestly, pretty awkward. Here's what the loss to Oregon does. Are all the goals still out there? You bet they are. What it does is it just makes the margin for error less. Tim, I think we would probably both agree that if they match this 5-1 first half with another 5-1 second half, that they still get a chance to. They're still going to be a playoff team at that point. Mm-hmm. I don't know. You're probably not going to get a chance at a Big Ten championship if you lose a second conference game, and they certainly don't even want to entertain any of that. But they're going to get a chance in 2 weeks at Penn State, and Penn State will likely. Who does Penn State have this week?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Or
I
next
believe
week.
the Nittany Lions are on a bye this
I think they are on an off week, yeah.
Do they? Don't they have kind of a tricky one? I think they might have a tricky one when Ohio State plays Nebraska. They're at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Which Wisconsin's playing better. I mean, I like Penn State in that game, but Penn State's not blowing anybody out. It'll be a tight game for sure, and it's at Madison, so that'll be an interesting game for them. So they're off this week, and then they're at Wisconsin to play the Badgers. So 5-1 in the second half would do it, but that's not what anybody around here expects or wants or anything like it. The schedule is as follows: Nebraska, obviously next Saturday, then they're at Penn State, then it's Purdue, it's at Northwestern, a frisky Indiana team on the 23rd here, and then of course the Michigan game to follow. What concerns do you have about this Buckeye team when you judge them up against what we said in the previous segment of Oregon, Texas, Georgia, four most talented teams in the country? What needs to get shored up in the next month?
Well, defensively, you can't. You got to do something about the fourth quarter. I mean, you got to figure that out. You got to get that figured out. Number two, this is a defense, as Ohio State's already shown, that can dominate unless you have more than a couple of cards to play. Oregon had more than a couple of cards to play and exposed it, and you give Dylan Gabriel a half a second like they did on that deep touchdown pass, for example. I mean, a good quarterback and all the good teams we're talking about have good quarterbacks. He's going to burn you. So my big line about the defense is in those games, the main thing is keep things in front of you. In sense of don't give up the easy play. And, Ohio State thought it had really gotten rid of giving up the big explosives, and then the explosives blew up in their face on Saturday. They still almost won the game. I mean, that's what people don't, still is not the operative word maybe, but they could have won that game. Let's put it that way, even though they gave up some plays they haven't given up this year, including a quarterback running 27 yards untouched for a touchdown on a boot. I mean, you're kidding me. You knew that was there. You knew those possibilities there. The point is, against the good teams, they can beat you at all three levels. The receivers, the running backs, and the quarterback can beat you when everything else breaks down. So you got to get that figured out. And sometimes it means playing a little less spectacular or crazy defense and playing basic defense. And like I said, make them go the hard way.
I think that obviously defense is going to get a lot of the attention, and rightfully so. The lack of the impact on the front is pretty real when playing light competition. Some of the adjustments, everybody in that stadium knew Denzel Burke was struggling, and to not put a safety over the top so that he didn't have to worry about that is something that ought to be second guessed for a while. I think our corners are a little panicky, Tim. When the ball gets in the air, they turn their heads too soon, and that's something Tyvis and I talked about on Monday's show. So those things need to be shored up, because everything that Oregon can do, Georgia can do, and Texas can do.
Correct.
And Texas might even be able to do it a little bit better. So I mean, that's something that you're going to have to contend with if you're going to get your ultimate goals of winning a national championship.
Yeah, here's the thing. Wait a minute, let me throw this in there. The other thing, all those quarterbacks can do something off schedule. See, that's what kills you. Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
And so can Will Howard, for that matter. Go ahead now.
The other thing that was surprising to me in the Oregon game was I don't know if it was the script of the game or the way that it went. I really thought that Ohio State would have been able to run it better against the Ducks defense than they did. Quinshon 11 for 23, and he had the fumble. Trey had 10 for 87, but 53 of those came on one run. So all of a sudden you start to look at I just assumed that they could just line it up and kind of bludgeon a little bit, and they didn't. And again, Oregon's real. I think I've made that pretty clear that I'm acknowledging how good Oregon is. But I really thought they'd be able to run it a little bit better than they did, and that's why I said what I said about Will Howard. If he didn't go 28 to 35 and wasn't sensational, then it's a different game too. I was a little surprised, and I think when you play. If you get to the point where you get to play this Ducks team again in the Big Ten championship game, if you get to play Georgia and Texas in the college football playoff and try to accomplish your ultimate goals, I do think you're going to have to be a little bit more of a consistently good threat on the ground. And I thought they would have been better against Oregon than they were.
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, when you really look at it, they lost Shabola, in the first half. He did come back and play in the second half, but that takes. All right, what are we doing now? And then you lose your left tackle, Josh Simmons. And, okay, what are we doing now, on the offensive line? And, sometimes, in your brain, and I know I think this way, the best thing to do for a guy who hasn't played much, who's in the lineup, is just give him something simple, run straight ahead and block that guy in front of you. I mean, just to make it simple. And but then when you get off track a little bit, the fumble by Quinshon Judkins, it was really the ball was ripped out of his hands, and that's the way it is. You just can't let that happen. If you're the running back, and that flipped the script a little bit on their running plans. But both teams pretty much ran equally and threw equally from the standpoint of numbers. You know what I mean? And
that's why I said they're mirrors.
Interesting. Yeah, and but it. We talked about that. We used to talk about this in the hall, at Channel 10, which is right. That hall's still there, by the way. We can go talk here in a little while. But the bottom line is, if you commit yourself to running, you got to throw those punches, man. You got to throw those midsection punches and keep at it even when you don't have success, because eventually, like in a boxing match, the guy will drop his guard and then you hit him over the top, so to speak. But haymaker. But both these teams had some haymakers in that game. But you're right. I mean, I think they did abandon the run, but there were probably a lot of things going on in Chip Kelly's mind about what he was seeing and what was being reported to him on what was getting done on the offensive line. And so, you go back, and I know these coaches, man. I know how they operate. They've replayed this just on the screen a million times and in their head another million times about what coulda, shoulda, And so, I'm with you. I always believe, like against Georgia, run the ball right at Georgia. I mean, make Jalen Carter not be able to use his quicks and just to be able to have to stand there and handle like a 300-pound man beating on him. That's the way I think.
Here's a thing we want to do next. College football at the midway point. If the college football playoff were this weekend, what would it look like? You might be surprised. We'll get to it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Marty Brenneman here for Tri-State Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health for treating erectile dysfunction and low testosterone issues. And they're the leader for a reason, because I can tell you from my own experience of being treated there, Tri-State Men's Health is top shelf. Far too many men wait to get their ED treated, but I want to tell you today that you shouldn't wait any longer. If you're suffering with ED and are like most guys, a medical team at Tri-State Men's Health will get you back on track fast. They have the experience, they have the treatment protocols, and they know what they're doing. At Tri-State Men's Health, they have ED treatments that are effective in well over 90% of men. They can even combine treatments for better results. You might even find yourself performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment today. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. They have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you.
Would you believe that giraffes are 30 times more likely to get hit by lightning than people? Or that a single cloud can weigh 550 tons or more? Sounds fake, right? How about an insurance company that actually treats you right? Sounds unbelievable, but it's true. NJM Insurance is proud to put policyholders first. And they don't use jingles or mascots either. Don't believe me? Well, guess what? Everything in this commercial is true and approved by the legal department. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Visit njm.com for a quote.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com, and use promo code JUSTSPORTS to get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Rosati Windows, the best buying experience in the business.
So many of the manufacturers today have gone to using such high-tech equipment that there's nothing left for human hands. Rosati Windows is different. Yes, we've invested in a lot of high-tech equipment, but a lot of our steps are still done by hand, and this makes for a much stronger window. There's just a lot of little things that we do that adds to the quality of our window.
Call Rosati Windows today, 777-4806.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change will help ease your oil change-anxiety. Picture an oil change that's quick, not rushed. When you hear the bell, feel yourself becoming light as a feather. Now, let go of your oil change-anxiety. Visit Valvoline Instant Oil Change today. No automotive worry, no appointment needed.
The best mornings
in the morning light
start with Wrangler.
Pull on my jeans and I feel alright.
Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started on the right foot.
I pull my blue jeans on. I pull my old blue jeans on.
Good mornings make for better days.
I pull my blue jeans on. I pull my old blue jeans on.
Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Great game. You got into the end zone again and again. How'd it feel?
Awesome. Like getting a new iPhone again and again. I just got the new iPhone 16 Pro today.
Really?
Yeah. And with AT&T Next Up Anytime, I can upgrade early every year.
Very nice.
Feel like an MVP again. Learn how to get the new iPhone 16 Pro on us and the latest iPhone every year with AT&T Next Up Anytime. AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Offer subject to change. Additional fees, terms, and restrictions apply. $0 offer may not be available on future iPhones. Next Up Anytime feature may be discontinued at any time. See att.com/iPhone for details.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Columbus Blue Jackets got a 6-4 win last night at Nationwide over the Buffalo Sabres, but it came with a price. Ken Johnson left Thursday's game in the second period with an upper body injury after colliding with teammate James Van Riemsdyk. Johnson did not return to the game, and we'll get an update sometime Friday. CBJ are back on home ice Saturday hosting the Minnesota Wild. In baseball last night, the Guardians walked off on the Yankees in Game 3 of the ALCS. David Fry hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 10th to give Cleveland their first win in the series. series. New York still leads 2-1. Gavin Williams will toe the rubber for the Guardians in Game 4. First pitch from Progressive is Friday at 5:08. And in college hoops, the basketball Buckeyes will play number 20 Cincinnati in an exhibition tonight at 7. We'll have that game on the Fan with pregame coverage at 6:15. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR with a Visa credit card from BMI FCU. Apply at bmifcu.org/Visa.
Have you already started your tailgate? Us too. It's Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky's Sawmill Toyota.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
Second hour here on a Football Friday edition of the program. Tim Bay, Reese along for the ride here in hour number 2. We are at the halfway point of the college football season. We wanted to do this on kind of a monthly basis, and this one sets up pretty good in terms of letting the folks know what would happen if you had a college football playoff right now. And one of the things, Tim, and I don't know if this happens when you talk to folks who are not knee-deep in the muck in it like we are, when obviously we understand how this 12-team playoff is going to work in terms of who's in and who's not. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I get pretty consistently is a great deal of surprise, as your boy, what a surprise, as your boy Hayden Fry would say. Yeah. When people say, wait a second, it's not the top 12 ranked teams in the country? No, it is not the top 12 most highest ranked teams in the country.
This is a club, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And right now it's inclusive. Yes. Because of that. It's not the 12 best teams in the country as decided by a ranking. It's going to be a college football playoff committee, and they're going to put them in. One thing that has been historically accurate is there's not much deviation between how the AP and coaches view it versus the college football playoff committee. It's usually pretty close.
Right.
So just to give you an idea, if the college football playoff started this weekend, this is how it would go. So in your heads as you're listening or driving around or watching on YouTube or whatever, just kind of see the bracket this way. Texas would be the 1 seed, so they would have one of the byes. Mm-hmm. The 2 seed would be Oregon. The 3 seed would be Miami. So Miami's ranked 6th in the country, but they would be the 3 seed, and they would get a bye. The 4 seed would be Iowa State, who is the 9, but would be the number 1 team in the Big 12 if the playoffs started right now. BYU's obviously undefeated too, yep. But that's how it would go. It would be Iowa State as the 4 seed. So Iowa State and Miami would get byes in this scenario if the playoffs started right now. So right now, based on the Associated Press poll, the 5 seed would be Penn State. Mm-hmm. So they would be the 5. The 6 seed would be Ohio State. The 7 seed would be Georgia. The 8 would be Alabama. The 9, if you just went straight, and I don't think they'll do this, and remind me, I'll get back to that in a second. The 9 would be LSU. So there's your first matchup. It would be Alabama, LSU in the 8-9 game. Now, the 7-10 game, if it were played right now, would be Georgia-Clemson. So what I think the committee would do, because, again, they're making television shows, and we at that point would have seen Georgia and Clemson, Alabama, LSU. I think they'd have LSU play Georgia, and I think Clemson plays Alabama, because that's better television.
Yeah.
The 11 would be Tennessee, and the 12 would be Boise State. So if the playoffs started right now, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 SEC teams. That is 3 Big Ten teams. That is 2 ACCs, 1 Big 12, and Boise State. That's what it would look like. The bracket would feed Penn State into Texas. It would feed Ohio State into Iowa State. You want to talk about advantageous? That's pretty good. I like the chances of Ohio State beating Tennessee and Iowa State to get to a college football semifinal. Georgia Clemson would feed into Oregon, which would be a haymaker. And I guess the way I had it would be Georgia LSU would feed into Oregon, and Alabama and Clemson would feed into Miami. Mm-hmm. So that's what this thing would look like if it were done right now. And, of course, there is an enormous but. Go ahead.
Yeah. Tennessee plays Alabama this week. You know what I mean?
That's why we're doing it right now.
Exactly.
Because next week it's going to look different.
Exactly. And Georgia plays Texas this week. I mean,
yes,
Georgia's in a must-win situation. We talked to Feinbaum about that yesterday. I mean, This is, this idea that tradition's going to get you in. Tradition didn't get Georgia in last year. And I really truly believe Georgia. Boy, when I watched that replay, a lot of that game against Mississippi State, I'm going, this is not one of the nation's elite teams. I mean, I'm talking about Georgia, and I'm just going, Wow, this is interesting, and I see Texas. We'll talk about it later in picks and stuff. But
coming up
Texas
at
is going to score
10:33,
points.
we'll preview it.
Texas is going to score points on these fellas, and can Georgia match blows? But yeah, it is interesting right now. If they could freeze it, that is pretty much what your brackets would look like. But the fly in the ointment in the Big Ten right now, and I think you agree, is Indiana. Indiana's a pretty good football team, man. And
here are the things you bring up. Indiana. Let's say
Indiana with one loss. What are we looking at there? You understand what I'm saying?
That's potentially very likely. Here, you talk about flies in the ointment. There are several that I think are interesting when you're talking about a 12-team playoff. I think Notre Dame's going to be very interesting. Notre Dame right now is the first one out. They're at 12. They've got a terrible loss, but they have a win that I think is going to look better and better as this season goes along. So I think Texas A&M looks like they got a pretty quality team. So Notre Dame right now is 12. They would be the first team out if they just held it by the ratings. But to your point, Tennessee plays Alabama this weekend. One of those teams would drop out at that point. The other thing that is really fascinating here is what they do with the group of fives. So Boise State is the highest ranked right now. It's Ashton Genty, and I'm telling you, nobody wants to play them.
Nope.
Nobody. So, but they're sitting
score
there.
Points. I'm telling you. Go ahead now.
So they're sitting there at 15. The two service academies, Army and Navy, are ranked for the first time since 1960. They are 23 and 25 overall. But Boise State certainly has the path there to get into the playoff and be the 12, and they would be a formidable 12. The ACC is going to have a very strange last half of the season, Tim, because Miami, Clemson, and SMU, who is 5-1, my beloved ponies, they are 5-1. Those three schools, Tim, do not play each other.
No.
They don't play each other in the regular season.
We were poo-pooing the ACC at the beginning of the year. That's why you got to let the games play. Go ahead. I'm not even going to interrupt you, but wow.
By the way, Pittsburgh is undefeated too.
There you go.
At the moment. So the ACC has 4 teams that are 5-1 or better, and 2 of them that are undefeated. You mentioned Indiana. This is going to be a fascinating discussion to have. If they can beat Nebraska, and we'll preview the Big Ten weekend coming up at 11:20.
Yeah.
But when you think about their stretch here, they have Nebraska at home tomorrow on Big Noon. Then it's Washington at home. That's very, very winnable.
Winnable.
At Michigan State. Winnable. Michigan. Winnable. Yes. Michigan's at home, by the way.
Yeah.
Then here against the Buckeyes, and then Purdue. Look, they're going to lose. Obviously, obviously very confident they'll lose the Ohio State game. The question is, can they win the rest? And if they can beat Nebraska tomorrow, does 10-2 Indiana? So you're right. Those are the flies in the ointment that could be there. And this is the other part of it, though, that's really hard for folks to understand. You got to remember, folks, they are making television shows here. Mm-hmm. So the right thing to do might be 10-2 Indiana is better than 9-3 Tennessee or 9-3 Alabama. But I don't think they would take Indiana over Alabama, even if we think it's the right thing to do.
Well, I mean, they will definitely have the conundrum, that's for sure, on their plate. Number 2, if you had 4-4 SEC and Big Ten, I mean, how could you really complain? You know what I mean? From the standpoint of, because that's what it could end up being. And I mean, who knows what the committee ultimately is going to do? But it's just, man, if Indiana gets there with a resume that's worthy, they're a Cinderella. How do you keep Cinderella out of the ball? You understand what I'm saying?
Is 11-1 the number though?
I think it probably is. Yeah,
I think so too.
I think if they're 11-1, they're in.
I agree.
I mean, they're only lost to Ohio State, which may have end up having to beg its way in with 2 losses. I mean, who knows? I mean, I think Ohio State wins out. That's my opinion right now. I thought Ohio State was going to run the table. I'm going to stick with that. I still think they're talented, but how do you keep Indiana out of the dance with that? You don't. I think that's the bottom line. And tough luck, SEC and Alabama.
Whew. Yeah,
who do you think
you
wins?
Make television shows? I'm going to tell you something else though.
This is such a big weekend in the SEC, and I know people will look back and go, "Oh, that's why they didn't make it." That's what's going to happen.
We're going to get into that at 10:33 because you're right, it is, and it's going to go to something that Sankey talked about, and gosh, going all the way back a couple of years, we talked about it on this show, that they are going to say their 9-3 is better than your 11-1. Like, that's coming. They're not going to say that against Ohio State.
Well,
but
one of these things is
lesser
not
brands.
Yeah, one of these things is not like the other. Is his other saying?
That's going to be their argument.
I don't think that's as accurate as it used to be. Is my point.
Doesn't matter what you and I think. It matters what that committee thinks, right. and that committee is beholden to a television partner that wants to make ratings because they paid a bunch of money for it. And the reality is that Indiana is not going to rate. So that is going to be a fascinating conversation when that one takes place. Notre Dame's a fly in the ointment bigly because that takes a spot from one of the power conferences. Notre Dame's remaining schedule, if Marcus loses a game, he got his head examined. I mean, there's just no excuse. They got Georgia Tech this weekend. Then they got Navy. And Navy's game, but, talent to talent, that should equate. Florida State, which is a dumpster fire. Mm-hmm. Then they got Virginia. Then Army, and Army's better than Navy. Army's a full day.
Yes.
So they got 2 full day games. The Navy and Army game will be full days. And then they close at USC.
Yeah.
There is no reason for Marcus and Notre Dame not to be 11-1.
And even this week, it's at Mercedes-Benz Dome, not Grant Field, So against Georgia Tech.
That's a cool place, by the way. Georgia Tech's actual field's a cool place.
Yeah, I know it is. But you can see it from my hotel.
Bobby Dodd?
Yeah, Bobby Dodd. But, now you're taking me back. I'm having flashbacks, but from my childhood. But that's at the Mercedes-Benz Dome, and it's going to be loaded with Notre Dame fans.
Sure.
So it's... Yeah, there's really no excuse for them not to win out. But college football is wacky, my friend.
It is. I think that as you start to, I'll be fascinated to see when we revisit this in a couple of weeks, what it looks like then. If these ACC teams can continue to hold sway, and if they can, then it's going to be a real problem for the SEC and the Big Ten, because all of a sudden, if you have 12-0 teams, 11-1 teams, I think you have a hard time leaving them out, no matter how good that SEC brand is. But it's something Sakey's been preparing for a very long time in terms of how difficult that schedule is down there.
Yeah.
Want to have a Heisman conversation? We got to be the only show in the country that have 3 Heisman voters doing a show today.
Yeah.
Got to be.
I think it's special. That's why we're special radio. That's why it's the number one ranked radio station in the greater Columbus area.
In the world, actually.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Realize.
Yeah, in the world. Yeah. We'll do the halfway Heisman.
I guess I was right in a way. Go ahead now.
We'll do the halfway Heisman coming up next. Who are your leaders and who could steal it in the last half of the season? We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every single night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I get it. But there are alternatives to the CPAP machine, and Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and stops your snoring. What a concept. It's quick, comfortable, and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and he has a track record to prove it. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. And as the end of the year approaches, a lot of people have exceeded their medical deductibles, which means less out of pocket for you. Don't delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or you can visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Hello. I am a serious announcer hired to deliver a serious announcement. Get an Apex Pros winter tune-up for your furnace right now for only $29. Notice we are simply giving you the facts. Just $29 to make sure your furnace is ready for the upcoming Ohio winter. We know how you enjoy our usual fun and funny commercials. Hello? Beg pardon? Well, I see no reason to bring my mother into this. Good day to you, sir. Where was I? Oh, yes. A $29 tune-up will make sure your furnace runs safely and warmly all winter. That's serious. I'm serious. That's why we're not doing the usual that you've come to expect from Apex Pros. None of this or this nonsense. $29 for a furnace tune-up from Apex Pros. The pros who knows? Knows? Is that really how you say it? The pros who...
Apex Pros, the official plumber of the Columbus Blue Jackets. ApexPros.com.
It's Sunday Morning Football on ESPN Columbus and the Fans HD2. Catch the Jags and Patriots live from London. Coverage starts Sunday morning at 9.
Sponsored by Roosters, a fun casual joint.
Your radio home of the NFL, The Fan.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. And when it comes to fall, we often think of those cooler temperatures, the trees changing colors, the bonfires in the evening, and of course, football season. We less often think of those home projects that we've been neglecting or failed to finish up before those harsh Ohio winter hits. If you need to have your roof inspected or it's on your to-do list, you can ensure that Newman Roofing will get you ready for those harsh winter storms. The team over at Newman has you covered, and they're family-owned and locally operated right here in Central Ohio since 1992. The 3 generations that have been in the roofing industry, they have the expertise to handle any issue you may be facing with your roof. Folks, they took care of my roof. They did a fantastic job. They're the experts, and they will give you the white glove treatment, because when your name is on it, it just means more. So if you need your roof repaired or replaced this fall, call the company you can trust. That's Newman Roofing at newmanroofing.com or 614-NEW-ROOF.
Hear that? That's the sound of Bernie Moreno shredding evidence to avoid paying his employees. You see, Moreno refused to pay his employees the overtime pay they earn, so they sued him. And after a court ordered Moreno to keep the evidence of his wage theft, what did he do? That's right, he shredded it. Moreno even admitted to shredding evidence in court. He was found liable for wage theft, and a court forced him to pay over $400,000. Innocent people don't shred evidence. And now that Bernie Moreno is running for Senate, he doesn't want to talk about how he was caught ripping off his employees. And that begs the question, do you want a guy like that representing you in the Senate? Bernie Moreno, you can't trust him to be for you. The United Association of Plumbers and Pipefitters paid for and is responsible for the content of this ad. UA.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Longing for thick, healthy, gorgeous hair? Say goodbye to shedding thin and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume from New Nordic.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, sunny with a high of 69. Tonight, clear and chilly, low 42. Sunny tomorrow, high 71. Sunny on Sunday with a high of 74. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Producers, co-hosts, friends. Some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And we are, of course, sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without the medications. The solution for weight loss is Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Before we get to the Heisman conversation, I did see this from Pick 6 previews, rather, Tim and Reese. And I'll tell you what, if you're picking a national champion out of this group, would be a very wise choice. Here are the list of teams who are in the top 25 in both offense and defense, adjusted for opponent. Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Ole Miss, Oregon, Penn State, Texas, Texas A&M. There's a pretty straight correlation. If you're good at those two things and ranked that high in those two things, you're going to be just fine. And that would be a list of you. Give me those 7, and then you can have the field.
Points scored and points allowed. That's always what it comes down to, man.
Pretty much is. We've always said the Heisman is such a fascinating thing. I've been a voter for a long time. I know you've been a voter for a long time as well, Tim, Reese as well. The thing with the Heisman that I've always thought is, especially in the old days, I think in the old days it was even more apparent. You had to build a statistical resume throughout the season, and then you needed to have moments in November. You had to have something that made people go, oh, my God, did you, on a big stage,
Wait a minute,
in a rivalry game.
Yeah, in the old days, you had to build a resume the year before. You know what I mean?
That's true. You got to be known.
Junior occasionally would win it, and a senior. But, yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's what it was about. Now it's changed dramatically in that regard.
Well, I think the information is so much more readily available. You can watch Ashton Genty play anytime you want now. 25 years ago, you couldn't. You heard about him. I think that's what makes like Andre Ware's Heisman just so impossible because how many people actually saw him play?
Right.
It was just the statistical accumulation was so astounding that he won it. But it's who saw him play?
Right. You check the paper Sunday morning. How many yards? Yeah. Run and shoot. All right. Here we go.
Yeah. It was crazy. Klingler actually threw for more after he followed Ware at Houston. But, so in those days, you had to become known first. So you have to build a statistical resume, and then you need to have, on the biggest stage, you need to be able to shine brightly. So here are your Heisman odds, and let's take a look at this at the halfway point of the season. Ashton Jeanty is your leader. He is plus 160 via DraftKings to win the Heisman. Dylan Gabriel is second, plus 400. Then it's Cam Ward, Jalen Milroe, Travis Hunter, Cade Klubnik at Clemson. Go look at what he's done statistically since the Georgia game, and he was number one quarterback in the country coming out, and he's finally looks like he's playing very well. Quinn Ewers is plus 2,500. Curtis Rourke at Indiana, the former Bobcat.
The Maple Missile, baby.
Do you remember when the boys? Remember me talking about this, Reese, in the summer? How Curtis Rourke was like leading the Heisman in one of the boys' seasons on college football. And I'm like, what is going on? This is insane.
Yep. Now the rest of the country gets to kind of see what Ohio fans had for a couple seasons.
He can play.
He can sling it.
The best thing you can say about that young man is he can play, man, and good for him.
Two Buckeyes follow that up, Will Howard and Jeremiah Smith. Will at plus 7,000. Jeremiah Smith, 7,500, plus 7,500 on that side of things. Jeanty is putting up a statistical accumulation we've rarely seen before, Tim. And so that's the thing that will be. Barry Sanders did this at Oklahoma State, where it became such a absurd accomplishment statistically that it could not be ignored. And I want to say, did Barry Sanders, did he get awarded? He wasn't at the Heisman. Was that because he was playing in Tokyo? Do I have that right?
I think that's correct. I mean, I just,
there was one of them that won it, and they were playing in a bowl game in Tokyo, and I think it was him.
Right. I think that is correct, but it was, it is the comparison you've got between the two is accurate. The problem with Ashton is he's got to keep it up.
Yes.
I mean, he can't afford a bobble because he doesn't really have the schedule where you kind of go, wow, he's beating this guy, this team, and stuff. And we all know that the marquee games are what really turn your head. That's why Alabama has flourished in the Heisman race after not winning one until Mark Ingram.
People don't realize that.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize Ingram was the first Heisman winner.
Yeah, I mean, I realized I grew up there, but I thought it was quite apropos that the first Heisman winner from Alabama was an African-American, if you follow my drift there.
I do.
And, wow, congrats to him. But
how many have they had since?
Yeah,
Ingram.
Don't throw those pop questions at me, Derek.
No. Let's just talk it through. It's Ingram, Derrick Henry, Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
Bryce.
They have 4.
Did Tua? No, Tua didn't.
No, Tua didn't. In the last decade, they've had 4.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good.
After never having one.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with...
That's called coming on fast.
Here's the Jeanty conversation that's... The Ashton Jeanty conversation is pretty interesting. So, in the non-conference, they did play Oregon and Washington State. So, that's where they kind of punched up a little bit. So, he went 25 for 192 against Oregon and 3 touchdowns. Against Washington State, he was 26 for 259 and 4 touchdowns. On the season, just so you folks have an idea about what he's doing, he is 1248, 10 yards a clip, and 17 touchdowns in 6 games.
That's impressive, to say the least. I've got him on. I've got him high in my consideration list. And the guy right now I really have leading my way, and don't laugh at me, don't throw stuff at me. I mean, I like Travis Hunter. I like Travis Hunter, what he's doing. And if he comes back and plays after getting hurt last week, that'll be interesting to watch. But Chris Gamble was, kind of didn't play enough of that two-way until it really mattered. You understand what I'm saying? And the Heisman was gone, especially the national championship game. But I give it up to these guys that can go out there and play any level of Division I football and basically never leave the field. But when he touches the ball on either side of the line of scrimmage, he makes stuff happen too, and I'm very much considering him right now.
I think it's just going to be really hard for him to stay healthy.
I agree.
There's no precedent there's no precedent for what he's done. He's playing 100 plays. I mean, Charles Woodson didn't do that. You mentioned Gamble. Woodson would pick his spots. This kid is their number one receiver and their number one corner.
Correct.
Like no one's ever done this in the history of the sport. So there's no.
You throw with it. It's a classic. You throw to him and you don't throw at him. You know,
it is.
I mean,
yeah. But no one's done it. I mean, this is like something you do in 8th grade.
Yeah. Yes.
You don't even see like really good high school teams do this.
I'll take that guy. Snap. Yeah.
Here's Genty's second half. And this is to your point, which I think will make it tough. Now, we can watch all of these games. All of them are on television, but it's at UNLV this weekend. Then it's San Diego State, Nevada, San Jose State, at Wyoming, Oregon State. So that's a tough stretch in terms of people paying attention to you. But if he runs for 2,600 yards and 40 touchdowns, that's pretty hard to be able to ignore.
I think it's an achievement. I mean, this sounds stupid, but it's like the Academy Awards. If you're just nominated, it's a big deal. I mean, it's an achievement if he gets to the ceremony. And but there are going to be marquee games with everybody else on this list, with exception probably of Travis Hunter, that are going to just grab your eye, and that's the way voters vote anymore. So that's too bad for Ashton Genty, because you know what? I don't think he's going to. His yards per carry is ridiculous, but he's not going to have maybe that record season either. You understand what I'm saying? And at least before the Heisman vote is, which is we can talk about that.
They need to move it.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be in January, not in
Tim, now you're going to talk
December.
about a fourth of the season is going to be played after you vote for the Heisman. That's ridiculous. You got to move it.
They used to keep it that way so everybody would be eligible, and what happens in the postseason is just cherry on top of the ice cream. But now it's a major part of your season, the postseason, especially for the teams that have to play 4 extra games. It's going to be, they've definitely got to address that.
It's easy to see how Gabriel could be right in the middle of this. If Oregon goes undefeated and they're able to beat Ohio State for a second time in the Big Ten championship game, he'll be right in the middle of it.
Absolutely,
and he was damn impressive from what we saw last week. All right, coming up next, we mentioned what we hope will be and I do hope an elimination game for at least one SEC team this weekend. The monster game, obviously, is Georgia and Texas. The big story, though, here is how the most regional of all conferences has become a national brand. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Erectile dysfunction is a destroyer of your confidence, of your joy and intimacy, and often it can even harm your relationship. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, the leading men's sexual health practice in our area for treating erectile dysfunction, and I want you to know today that if you're like most men, you can be free of ED and all the impacts it has on your life. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're your local provider for dealing with men's sexual health issues. Our expert medical teams are focused on treating ED, and we have highly effective treatment plans with some protocols that work in well over 90% of cases. We can even combine treatments for greater efficacy, all of which means it's very likely you'll be having great sex again within just a day or two of your first appointment. You might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 2 convenient locations, just off 270 in Hilliard and near the Medical Mile in Westerville.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change will help ease your oil change-anxiety. Picture expert technicians who are quick but not rushed. When you hear the bell, breathe in and out. Now, let go of your oil change-anxiety. Visit Valvoline Instant Oil Change today and find automotive peace. No appointment needed.
It's Rocktober, baby!
It's Rocktober at Lindsay Honda.
Just announced for the rest of Rocktober, we're lowering the finance rate to 0.9% on every new Lindsay Honda. And you still get the Lindsay Honda difference. A $1,295 value package included with every vehicle purchase.
This is it!
Turn up the noise with Lindsay Honda.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24 and 25 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
Rothman and Ice.
Devontae Adams is now back with his guy. What would this be equated to? A prediction that it's going to be cold in Ohio this winter?
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
Voss Brothers Power Equipment, where you get the right lawn and garden equipment for the job. Voss Brothers Power Equipment, where you'll find pros who know their stuff who don't give you the runaround. Visit them at their Powell location on Sawmill Road for all your John Deere equipment needs, like one of their John Deere XUV 835M Gator utility vehicles. If you need power equipment, you need Voss Brothers Power Equipment. Come on in and get to know them by name at their Powell location on Sawmill Road. Voss Brothers Power Equipment, delivering enjoyment in mowing since 1989.
Looking for a trusted heating and cooling company? James Laurinaitis here for Custom Air. When I come home from a football game, I know that I'm walking into comfort. That's because Custom Air is on my team. When Custom Air does my semi-annual maintenance checkup, I trust them to spot any issues early on, so it'll save me money down the road. Don't let your HVAC call for a timeout this season. Tackle fall and winter like a pro. Go to customairco.com and schedule your maintenance today. Custom solutions, custom comfort. Custom Air.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. If your fall is anything like the people in my neighborhood, your weekends are full of driving kids to endless soccer things. So if you're going to be on the road, be as comfortable as possible. 4 out of 5 doctors recommend a new Lexus. That's not true, but I recommend it. Deal time, 2.99% finance rate on a 2024 RX. That's madness. 4.49% finance rate for a 2025 NX. And you can get up to $5,000 lease cash for a 2024 RX. Check them out online, JermaineLexus.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
And Reese, we got a little bit of breaking news on the Buckeye side of things. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this from Pete Nakos of On3. Ohio State running back Quinshon Judkins underwent a hand procedure this week. The former Ole Miss transfer is not expected to miss any playing time, however.
There you go. So something to monitor there. So kind of an example of the bye week being in the right time there. And the key there, Tim, obviously he won't miss any time. And they need to get that rolling and certainly get it rolling against Nebraska so you can get it rolling big time when you go to Happy Valley.
As Ryan Day said, this was going to be their true off week. The first one was just a bonus. But, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of things happened in that game. We didn't get clear answers to, like Quinshon not being used very much, and now I think we know. I mean, the interesting thing to me is I watched Will Kazmarek leave the game after that big catch down the middle, and he didn't look good. He was holding his left arm shoulder area, and then Ryan revealed yesterday, it could be a long-term-ish kind of thing where there's rest of the year or not remains to be seen, but that's your starting tight end, and of course you've lost your looks like you've lost your starting left tackle for the season. So they took their lumps in again. There was a moment when Donovan Jackson was down and was slow getting up. I mean, it almost turned really bad for the offensive line. But, he came at the right time. This
was always going to be, when you talk about a 12-team playoff, it was always going to be a battle of attrition.
Exactly,
It was going to be the depth of talent. It's not your front guys. I mean, think of an NFL roster, and you think about what's happening at the end of a season. I mean, you have backups playing everywhere. You get guys. Last year, the Browns won 11 games playing with their 5th and 6th tackles at the end of the year. That's just the reality of playing this many games, and it's something that the depth of talent is what's going to be what you're going to rely upon at the end. It is a monster weekend of college football. It is a game that I can't wait to see the game on 7:30 on Saturday night between Georgia and Texas. Texas has been the most fun for me to watch this year of any college football team, Tim, because you and I have many things in common, many things we see differently, but one thing we both like is to throw the ball down the damn field.
Yep.
And they do. They did it in the Michigan game. They did it with Arch. They're doing it with Quinn. Now, in these type of big games, they usually play it closer to vest with Quinn, and they keep stuff a little bit more underneath. But I think that they just kind of make you defend every blade of grass the way that nobody else kind of does, although Oregon did it last weekend a little bit, but I think Texas may be a little bit better at it than Oregon. This is the one everyone's had circled. It's a monster weekend down there. The F1 is there on Sunday as well, so it's going to be absolutely bonkers. You have been pretty adamant the last couple of days about Georgia's defense being there for the taking, and all you needed for proof of that was the first half of the Alabama game, that they are certainly there for the taking if you want to. Texas is a 5-point favorite. We'll pick it at 11 o'clock, but that is a big number, and I don't know the last time Georgia's been an underdog of that big.
Yeah, I mean, but, I look at a 5-point. I don't look at it like gamblers do. I look at it like that's not even a touchdown. You know what I mean? And one touchdown, unexpected touchdown at the end of the game or end of the first half, whatever, can sway everything. Texas has that capability with its offense because Quinn Ewers, like you said, can hit every point on the field no matter where he is on the field. And so when you've got a guy like that as your trigger man, and you're right. I mean, I think Steve Sarkisian has done a great job of managing him when he's healthy. I'm talking about he missed, back in a couple of games ago he was out. But the bottom line is they've done a really good job of keeping him under control because he is a Mahomes kind of player, as in you think you've got him. If you just let him throw from the pocket, he will kill you. If you let him run around, he will kill you. So how are you going to die? Is what you have to. Is what you have to pick defensively. But, yes, I mean, my opinion, he's built for these games. Like I told you, I thought he spit the bit against Washington last year in the college football playoff semi late in that game. It looks like he's come back with it firmly between his teeth.
Alabama, Tennessee is the 3:30 game. That's the ABC 3:30. That better be an elimination game for one of those teams. Both Tennessee still has to play Georgia. Alabama still has to play LSU.
Yes.
So the loser of that game very likely could lose a third, and even the winner could lose a second and then have to play an SEC title game and lose a third. So to me, the loser here, I kind of don't want to hear from him the rest of the way.
I agree. I think that is, in a fair world, that's exactly the way it would be because, these SEC schedules are not as tough sometimes as you look at them on paper. But I think the SEC, the middle guys in the SEC have gotten better. And I'm saying that, and I'm including Vanderbilt, as a middle guy. Because are you kidding me? They are a tough out. I mean, just ask Kentucky last week, much less Alabama. But, this should be an elimination game. And, Feinbaum, when we were talking to him about it yesterday, kind of hedged a little bit on it. But really, like he pointed out, with Tennessee, so do they beat Georgia at the end of the year? I mean, if they lose this one, no. And, hey, by the way, did you hear the call, the Arkansas, was it the Arkansas-Tennessee call at the end of the game when Iamaleava scrambled right and threw the ball out of bounds? Did you hear that radio call from the Arkansas side? Supposedly, I mean, they played it a couple times. I was listening to some show, and the Arkansas play-by-play guy had him throwing the ball to the end zone incomplete. And he ran out of bounds with the ball.
Oh, really? He just misidentified it. No, I missed it.
Misidentified it. I don't know what he did. It was like
just made stuff
the
up.
haze. He got that pit boss Pittman haze came over his eyes there from the smoke. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee looked so good about 3 weeks ago, right? And you're going, wow. And now when you play somebody, it's a different look.
And it's the reality is that, and this is why when anytime somebody, whether it's Florida State people or Clemson people or anybody talk about the SEC adding teams, I'm like, the SEC doesn't need to add anybody.
Yeah.
They got their right 16. They don't need to add anybody. And they would add Ohio State, something like that, but they're not in the interest of doing it. They're fine. And what they did this year with the schedule was to play the hits in the biggest way possible. I mean, Georgia's schedule is nuts. This weekend in the SEC is absolutely nuts. And here's the thing that's really interesting. It is paying off as big as can possibly pay off on the ratings side of things. Right. The SEC is dominating the ratings, dominating even the Big Ten in the ratings, which is something that I don't know that anybody saw happening. A great example of this is CBS in its first season with the Big Ten lineup. And of course, this was historically the SEC package. I've often said that this is a big reason why the SEC is a national brand, is because they're on national TV for 30 years at 3:30, and a lot of people got used to seeing them. CBS has seen its viewership drop from 5.1 million average at this point last year to 3.64. So they've lost a ton. Fox's Big Noon window has dropped as well. That number is down 18% from a year ago. NBC's primetime Big Ten window was pretty poor until last week's Ohio State Oregon game, because that was around 10. It gets it back up to 4 million. Across the board, though, the ABC ESPN matchups are beating the Big Ten matchups on Fox, NBC, and CBS. And I think a big reason for that is because the Big Ten stupidly did not have Ohio State play USC and did not have the hits being played.
I don't get that.
And it sucks. I mean, the Big Ten, Tim, opened the first one of those teams playing was Indiana at UCLA.
Yeah, big one. And
what are you doing?
That was the first one they went 2 time zones and won. But that's what's even crazier about it. Hey, maybe people will look back on that in November and go, "Hey, that was a hell of an idea, putting number 10 Indiana at UCLA to start the season." No, but here's the thing. I mean, you're right. I mean, why wouldn't you start with some? Like, we talked about this. Remember, me, and Doug talked about this one time. Why wouldn't you start with a classic matchup in some form or fashion? Ohio State, USC. USC obviously is not the USC of your uncle's USC or your daddy's USC, but or my USC.
Still, if you would have played them, if you play them week 3, Tim, they would have been. But they would have been ranked 10th in the country.
It's just crazy that Texas, Georgia. When you grew up where I grew up, that Texas, Georgia is an SEC showdown game based on where I grew up with Texas in the Southwest Conference and Georgia in the SEC. Now, this is why this expansion makes sense. I mean, Ohio State, Oregon, you put it on TV and it turns into a slobber knocker. People are going to tune in just like Ole Miss and LSU. I mean, that was a slobber knocker, and people, if they're not tuned in at the beginning, they are at the end.
I mean, this weekend, CBS is going to counter Alabama, Tennessee with Michigan at Illinois.
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah. So that's the problem of it. And I actually think it was a pretty remarkable thing that there were 10 million for the biggest game of the year so far. Ratings was Georgia, Alabama. That was around 13 million. Ohio State, Oregon was second. I think it was crazy that LSU Ole Miss did 6.5 million.
Yeah, but it was a game, though. I mean,
I understand, but it was opposite.
It's clicker. We're in the clicker
We're not.
era.
We're in the streamer.
Well,
you and I are the only clickers left, brother.
Well, I'm clicking on my streamer.
Me too.
I mean, I can stream by clicking.
I know, but most of this stuff is most people are doing it the other way. It's multiple TVs. It's crazy.
You got to get with the program, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we'll hit a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota with more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else. Like America's best-selling car, Toyota Camry. It's all hybrid all the time with available all-wheel drive. Now through November 4th, you can lease a Camry LE for $299 a month for 36 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Hear those leaves crunching under your feet? Feel that cool nighttime air? It's definitely fall in Ohio. Fall is the perfect time to have the Waterworks inspect and tune up your furnace before the cold winter months hit. To inspect and protect your family against those wintertime furnace breakdowns, call 614-232-2222. Or visit thewaterworks.com today to schedule your fall furnace inspection and tune-up. Winter is just days away.
We've seen it before. Politicians and lobbyists playing games, drawing voting maps to keep power in their hands, not ours. Courts have ruled Ohio's voting districts unconstitutional 7 times, while our communities have been left out again and again. But this November, you have a chance to change that with Issue 1. Issue 1 will make it illegal for politicians to manipulate voting districts for themselves or their own party. Instead, it creates an open, transparent process where a diverse group of citizens, not politicians, will draw the lines. No more backroom deals, no more gerrymandering, just fairer maps that represent our communities. Issue 1 gives you and me the power to ensure everyone's vote counts. This is about real change, a chance to end the games and make our voices heard. So vote yes on Issue 1, fair representation, and power to the people. Paid for by citizens, not politicians.
Common Man and T-Bone.
There are real people out there. What are we drawing pictures for?
That's right. Yes.
Something like Dump to Bear. Hey, what are you doing? Drawing pictures. Got real people out there trying to put food on the table.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
The season may be winding down, but there's still time to make the most of Buckeye Lake. At Buckeye Lake Marina, we have year-end deals on boats, accessories, and more to get you ready for next year's adventures. Looking to upgrade? The Buckeye Lake Marina staff is there to help you find the perfect boat at unbeatable prices. Buckeye Lake Marina has a long list of satisfied customers and want you to be the next. Don't wait. Sail into savings at Buckeye Lake Marina before the year ends and find the boat that's just right for you. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com for more.
Looking for your next Subaru? At Byers Airport Subaru, we give you options from start to finish. Browse and shop entirely online from the comfort of your home at ColumbusSubaru.com or stop by and visit one of our friendly brand specialists just by the airport.
Right now, you can get a new 2025 Subaru Outback for 2.9% for up to 72 months.
Whether you prefer to click or come in, we've got you covered. Your journey starts at Byers Airport Subaru. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Subject to credit approval. Financing offer term up to 72 months on 2025 Subaru Outback. Cannot be combined with any other incentive. See dealer for details. Offer ends 10/31/24.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every single night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I get it, but there are alternatives to the CPAP machine, and Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and stops your snoring. What a concept. It's quick, comfortable, and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and he has a track record to prove it. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. And as the end of the year approaches, a lot of people have exceeded their medical deductibles, which means less out of pocket for you. Don't delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or you can visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Want to know anything about the Fan's contests, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing. Hit it, Reese.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
All right, Tim, I'm going to throw another curveball at you. I want to take the show back. October 5th, Fayetteville, Arkansas. The Razorbacks lead number 4 Tennessee 19-14. Vols have the ball at the Razorbacks 20 with 6 seconds on the clock.
4th down. Hogs could win it right here. Nico gets the snap, looking left. Now he's flushed, rolling right, still looking downfield. Firing into the end zone's broken up. It's incomplete. Arkansas wins. Arkansas wins the game.
Of course, that's not what happened. Chuck Barrett on the Hogs Radio Network. Malieva ran the ball out of bounds on that play. Thing or not a thing?
Thing.
Has anyone asked him what in the blue hell he was thinking?
No, I mean, I guess the pump
Why would
fake,
you just fabricate?
I guess the pump fake fooled him.
And he just... Man, I mean, everyone makes mistakes. God bless, and I mean, you're excited in the moment, but at the same time, have it wrong. Did he correct it later in the broadcast, even, or was it just euphoria because they won?
I have no record of seeing anywhere where he corrected it. Let me put it that way. Maybe he did. My bad. It was like the wrong way Ruggles or whatever his name. And he had the wrong guy running the ball, and he says, any laterals to so-and-so, and so he had the right guy scoring.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but I mean, there's classics out there, but man alive, wow. But I've made mistakes before.
Everybody does, but that's a big
out
one.
there in the ether now.
Well, that's a big one.
On Thursday, Virginia's Tony Bennett shocked the college basketball world by retiring. UVA Athletics is going to hold a press conference at 11 o'clock this morning. Virginia begins their basketball season in 19 days. ESPN's college basketball insider, Jeff Borzello, tweeted yesterday, I asked Tony Bennett literally last week why so many people thought he could be the next Jay Wright and suddenly retire out of nowhere. His response verbatim, quote, I got to call Jay Wright and see what he says, right? I have always said, when you're doing this, you're in this profession, whether you agree how it's going or not, you have to be true to yourself and really look at it and say, who am I? Can I operate how I want, and can I be successful enough? And you get to choose if you want to be part of it or not. And when you feel like it's time, like Jay did, like Coach K, maybe Saban, it's their choice. And you can sit here and complain and gripe, or you have a decision to make. Either you try to do it in your way, or you get to make that decision. So I think Jay probably foresaw where this is going. It'll be better whenever there's regulations. Is that 3 to 5 years away? Who knows? But if it's not, those are decisions that every man has to make when it's his time. End quote. Thing or not a thing?
Well, there are a lot of ways you could go here. It's obviously a thing. This guy won a national championship. It's also pretty interesting because he has some incredible first-round losses. In fact, he's a one that lost to a 16.
Yeah.
And the next year they won the national title. Pretty improbably that he won a national title at Virginia, but he did it. Here's the thing with these guys. It's that scale, Tim, where the pain in the neck of the sport juxtaposed to what I'm being compensated.
Yep.
And when the pain in the neck outweighs the compensation, or where you've banked enough compensation that you don't want to deal with the pain in the neck anymore, that's how you get what happened in Charlottesville.
That's what modern sports, modern college sports allow guys, what you just said, the compensation aspect. If he's banked 80% of what he's made, he's in good situation. You couldn't do that 40 years ago.
No.
You know? And now, but I remember talking with Jim Trussell about it at one point when he decided, now obviously he had to leave not of his own accord, but his point was, when I get up in the morning and I don't feel like doing what I've been doing the last many years, meaning putting that total effort into it and all that entails being a head coach, football or basketball or whatever, I owe it to myself, much less to school, to find something else to do. And that sounds like exactly what Bennett's doing. He's going to go maybe sing for a living,
Be something.
Wait, that's the wrong Tony Bennett. I've got the wrong Tony Bennett.
Maybe good, yeah.
But no, I mean, you just owe it to yourself. If you don't feel like going to work that day, you're in the wrong profession, because we know it's 24/7 pretty much for these guys.
We are 68 days away from Christmas, gentlemen. The Hallmark Channel's Countdown to Christmas will show 32 new movies, as well as old favorites, beginning tonight through December 25th.
Oh, my God.
I got this from the Columbus Dispatch. Fans will get to see some returning stars and characters, as well as a Kansas City Chiefs-themed movie called Holiday Touchdown, a Chiefs love story, with a cameo by Donna Kelce, the mom of football stars and University of Cincinnati graduates Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce. Donna Kelce will also make a cameo in another Hallmark Christmas movie. This year's Countdown to Christmas begins tonight at 8 with the film 'Twas the Day Before Christmas, starring Robert Buckley and Amy Groening. Thing or not a thing?
All right. I've never seen any of these movies, these Hallmark movies. I've never seen any of them. The fact that you have noted in here Robert Buckley and Amy Groening or whoever, I think someone was telling me this once, that there is just a group of actors that they just act in these Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
And they just kind of do the same thing over and over again. I am completely. It's obviously they make a great deal of money on it, which must be the reason why it works. On the Dana Kelce side of it, this is a woman and her husband who raised two football players in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, and they both went to Cincinnati. And so that's not. Well, I guess my point in bringing that part up is it's not like that was like, oh, this is a rocket ship to stardom. We're going to go be first-round picks and all of that. That's not how it played out. They both became stars. They're both going to be Gold Jackets, Hall of Famers. And her youngest son is dating the most famous person on the planet at the moment. So can you imagine the last 15 years of Donna Kelce, from what she was in Cleveland Heights as a mom raising kids to being an extra in Hallmark movies because her youngest son is dating Taylor Swift.
You know what this could be?
It's crazy.
This could be this. I think they made a separate second one, but this could be a sequel to A Christmas Story. Ralphie and his little brother, and how Ralphie finally, the rage came out of him, and he beat the heck out of that guy with the bad teeth. And ran him down and got his BB gun and it almost shot his eye out. I mean, this could be the Kelce brothers could star in that movie with their mom, as the mother who secretly, slyly, gave their daddy grief, but in the end loved him, and a bowling ball. But you know, you're still what I'm saying. I mean, they could make that movie, and I'd watch it, but I don't know what this one's all about. So
we got a
I
Monday
love
night.
when they put the duck on the table at the end of that. That's so great.
A can of Simonize.
Bumpuses. The damn bumpuses.
The bumpuses. Those damn bumpuses.
Bumpuses.
Real quick, we got a Monday night doubleheader. Ravens Buccaneers is your first game at 8:15 Monday night, and then only on ESPN Plus will be the Chargers and the Cardinals. Again, we'll pick those games against the house this coming Monday, but the Baltimore-Tampa Bay game will have the Manning cast. Joe Flacco will be a guest on that Manning cast Monday night.
Wow.
Thing or not a thing?
Thing.
Just salt the wound, man. Yeah. Baker's like number 2 in the NFL in quarterback rating, and Flacco's like 6.
Yeah.
I mean, just
there you go.
Absolutely.
And Cleveland's getting a dome in a couple of years.
Yeah. Jeez, absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
We'll know the scores coming up next. Final hour on a Football Friday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem.
Oh, yeah?
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
It's Rocktober, baby!
It's Rocktober at Lindsay Honda.
Just announced for the rest of Rocktober, we're lowering the finance rate to 0.9% on every new Lindsay Honda. And you still get the Lindsay Honda difference. A $1,295 value package included with every vehicle purchase.
This is it.
Turn up the noise with Lindsay Honda.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24 and 25 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
Columbus, the most wonderful time of the year, is finally here because Blue Jackets hockey is back. See it all and make new memories all season long. Get your tickets today at BlueJackets.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Hey, friends, Beamer Carp and Shark here from The Juice. The NFL season's going to continue on. No matter if your team's in last place or first place, there's still games to be played, and there's no better place to get into the action than FanDuel. That will be America's #1 sportsbook. You're going to get started with not one, not two, but $300 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. How about the Browns and the Bengals this weekend? Who do they got? Good news, Sharky. They got each other. Browns have had the Bengals number so far over the last couple of years, but I'm not so sure about this season.
Yeah, go with Joe Burrow on passing yards, or maybe
Deshaun.
Maybe Deshaun on rushing yards.
How about an anytime touchdown for him? Only if you want to lose.
From David Njoku. Just visit FanDuel.com/juice to make every moment more this season.
FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL, must be 21 and older and present in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
At the Home Depot, we know you can't control everything, like when your guests arrive too early for Saturday college football. But you can control your grill. With the Traeger Timberline XL, you can watch the game, not the grill. Monitor your football feast from anywhere using the Traeger app. With the Timberline XL, you can bake, smoke, sear, fry, and saute. That's Desmond Howard level versatility.
Huddle up, the food's done.
Defend your game time with Traeger and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
It's football season, and Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for all the action on the gridiron. With a game-changing rewards program, plus an amazing selection of tickets, Vivid Seats ensures that every fan can catch their favorite teams and players in action. Vivid Seats has you covered with deals that cater to every football enthusiast. And all tickets come back by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Number 4, Ohio State's on a bye this week. Buckeyes are back at the Shoe next Saturday, hosting Nebraska at noon. Earlier today, it was reported OSU's Quinshon Judkins underwent a minor hand procedure this week, but is not expected to miss any playing time. The Ohio State men's basketball team is in Ohio's Queen City for an exhibition tonight versus number 20 Cincinnati. Tip-off from the Fifth Third Arena is 7 o'clock. We'll have fan pregame coverage Friday night at 6:15. Buckeyes begin the regular season 17 days from now, playing number 19 Texas on November 4th in Las Vegas. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets beat the Sabres 6-4 last night, the second of a 4-game homestand. Forward Kent Johnson left Thursday's game in the second period with an upper body injury. Jackets will likely be without him tomorrow night as they host the Minnesota Wild. This update is sponsored by Dormar Heating and Air Conditioning. Need an emergency repair? Dormar can be there today, guaranteed. Visit them at dormarheating.com.
Let's see. High school, Buckeyes, Browns, kids in the retention pond. It must be Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Football is good. The Fan. The best hair on the air. You are listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Football Friday edition of the program. Tim May in with me. Reese as well as always. Time to know the scores. Hit it, Reese.
It's time for Know the Scores on Bishop and Friends.
All righty, last week, Bo, 7-4, 41-35 overall, going into week 8 of the college football season. I was 6-5. That moves me to 12-10 overall. But I will step aside today as Tim May will provide scores this week and possibly next, depending on his confidence.
Yeah, I'm a pretty confident fella.
We'll start tonight in West Lafayette as the Purdue Boilermakers are 28.5-point home dogs to number 2 Oregon.
Can you imagine being the Ducks and having that, what you experienced on your home campus, College Game Day, a little bit softer now, the national stage, 10 million people, second most watched college football game of the year, beat the Buckeyes, Dan Lanning's signature win, all of the things that are wrapped into that. And then probably on, I would guess, Wednesday or Thursday, flying to West Lafayette.
We're going where?
And you're going, where? What are we doing? Who are we playing?
Where's that?
When? We're playing on Friday night? Where is Purdue? Yeah. Oh, it's in Indiana. Lovely.
Well,
so I think the combination of all of that leads to an Oregon win, but slightly closer than the experts think. I got Oregon 42, Purdue 28.
Oh, that's funny. I've got Oregon 41, Purdue 20. I don't know where this Purdue offense. Well, I didn't get to see. All I saw was the numbers, right? But last week was kind of scary the way that game turned, Illinois and Purdue. I mean, it's like nuts. And that's college football for you in a nutshell. You think you know what's coming, but you're flying all the way, like you said, Bo, you're flying all the way to West Lafayette. And by the way, Eugene doesn't have a whole lot much more on it going for it than Lafayette, Louisiana. Let me put it that way. But Eugene's okay. It's a nice, big college town.
Pretty beautiful. I mean, you got mountains.
Well, yeah, but you know, it's still football.
I don't know if I can. I mean, it's significantly better
Dude,
than West Lafayette.
I was sitting there thinking. I'm just talking about it just as a college town. You know, eventually the mountains become passé if you live there. I think, except for the floods. But the bottom line is just I was looking. I'm sitting in a mini Rose Bowl here. You got these mountains lit up on the side. I'm just going. It was beautiful there, brother. I agree with that. So, yeah.
It's stunning.
I'm with the come down, 41-20 Oregon not cover, I guess.
Saturday at noon on the shores of Lake Michigan, Northwestern is an 8-point home dog to Wisconsin. Tim, this is you first.
Okay, me first. I've got Wisconsin 31-16. I've got Wisconsin cover.
So we were there. We were in Evanston this summer for a youth lacrosse tournament, and we went over to the campus and took a look at that stadium that they built.
Yeah,
and it's cool. It's really small, but it's cool. It's right on the water.
Yeah.
There's not much room to do anything, but they shoehorned it in there, and so I think it's probably going to be a cool environment in that game, although it'll be a small one. Here's the thing, though. Since the injury to Van Dyke at quarterback at Wisconsin, Luke Fickell figured out what Wisconsin does right, and that is run the damn ball.
Bingo.
And he's toting it. He's toting it 40 times, 45 times. They're running it, and they're being physical. And so, to me, this is a really tough sled for Northwestern. I like Wisconsin winning pretty comfortably in this one, 31-10.
Yeah, that win last week over Rutgers was impressive. I mean, I know that sounds funny coming out of anybody's mouth, but it was impressive. Go ahead.
Speaking of the Scarlet Knights, they are 4-point home favorites tomorrow at noon, hosting UCLA. Bo.
Yeah, this is like very similar to the game that we spend so much time talking about the top of this league, but just think about what UCLA has signed up for. Their first Big Ten game was Indiana at home. They get drilled. And now they are traveling to Piscataway to play a Rutgers team that Greg Schiano has playing pretty well. They got drilled by Wisconsin last week, but their only other loss is a close loss at Nebraska. Other than that, they've been impressive. I think UCLA is honestly garbage. I think they're absolutely garbage. I think Schiano gets right this week. I like Rutgers winning by 10. Give me 24-14.
I've got Rutgers. I won't dilly-dally. I've got Rutgers 24-13. So, the yin and yang here is crazy.
Yeah, same. A lot of samesies. UCLA's 0-4 in the league, by the way.
I know.
Mess.
At noon tomorrow in Louisville, the Cardinals are 5-point home dogs to number 6 Miami. Tim.
I go first. I've got Louisville. This would be my hot pick if I was like in the tout business. I've got Louisville 31-28 over Miami. Miami's been looking for a place to fall on this schedule so far, despite the daring do of Cam Ward. This is the spot where it happens.
So you're going it outright.
I'm going outright victory.
Louisville outright. Yeah. I think it's very much in play. I think Jeff Brom can coach it. Their only two losses are a close loss to Notre Dame, where they lost by 7 in South Bend, and then SMU. My ponies got them 34-27. I think Louisville plays tough. Miami is so one trick, and the one trick is Cam Ward, and he's great. I think Miami wins and survives to live another week, but I think it's closer than the number. Give me Miami in a thriller, 38-35.
Just remember, when you live in the high jump pit, you eventually have to fall in a big cushion. This is that game for Miami.
Final nooner we'll do today. Number 16 Indiana and Kurt Signetti. Just Google him. Are 6.5-point favorites hosting Nebraska. That game is a sellout in Bloomington.
Hey, wait a minute. Stadium picture. I can see it now.
Yeah, you know it's coming. Usually they reserve that for the Buckeyes.
All that red.
It's you, buddy.
Oh, it's me. Indiana 24-17. I won't dilly-dally. Sorry.
No, you're good. We have time to dilly-dally. 24-17 Indiana, so you have them covering. Okay, I don't think it's going to be that. I think that it could be an Indiana win, which would be huge for that program and all of it. I mean, I can't believe Big Noon is in Bloomington.
You got to dance with who you brought to the dance, man.
I guess. I mean, that's crazy. I think Nebraska gets right. I think that they get back to being ranked. Some of this is selfish because I want Nebraska ranked when they come here next week. So I'll have Nebraska springing the upset on the Hoosiers, 21-18.
At 3:30.
Actually, that score's not right. Let's go Nebraska. I'm forgetting how much these two teams score. I'm going to go Nebraska still winning, but I'm going to go 38-35.
About to say it will be a shootout, although you can't call it that. At 3:30, number 7 Alabama is a 3-point favorite at number 11 Tennessee.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I know.
You know, this is tough. I guess what I'm going to do here is I'm going to roll with the quarterback I trust a little bit more. This is Tennessee's defense lost their best player at linebacker this week, and he's out, captain of the defense. I think that hurts them a little bit. I like Bama. I think it could be right on 3, but I'll go Bama, and I'll go just slightly above it. I'm going to go Alabama 35, Tennessee 31.
I've got Alabama 30-24. We're thinking exactly alike, Bo. We are in alignment. Let's launch that rocket.
It's either terrifying or genius. There's going to be no middle ground here, kids.
3:30 in Atlanta. Number 12 Notre Dame is a 9.5-point road favorite at Georgia Tech. Tim.
I've got Notre Dame 28, Georgia Tech 17 in the Mercedes-Benz, whatever they call it, dome.
I had it 31-17, Notre Dame as well. So I see it the same way you do. I think Notre Dame wins by a couple of scores, which gets you out over the 9.5. So I got the Irish as well.
3:30 in Champaign. Number 22 Illinois is a 3.5-point home dog to number 24 Michigan. Bo.
Oh my God.
Another one of those conundrums, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Michigan, they just have an inability to throw the pass forward. Like, they just can't. Yeah. Now, they're coming off their bye, so that ought to give them a little bit of confidence. I wanted to pull something up before we make a pick on this one. Oh, geez, that was a circus.
You may go ahead and make mine.
I'm going to go this. I think Michigan wins a gross game 17-14, so I will take Illinois in the points.
Yin and yang, ladies and gentlemen. Yin and yang. I've got Illinois beating Michigan 21-17, and my big statement on it is, why not?
They played Penn State really tough, lost 21-7. So
exactly.
And Penn State's better than Michigan.
Plus, Michigan needs to get out of the way.
Yeah.
They've got the refs helping them right on down the line.
ESPN says this is the first time since 2021 Georgia is an underdog, so who am I to question the worldwide leader? At 7:30 in Austin, number 1 Texas is a 5-point favorite hosting the 5th-ranked Bulldogs.
I go first here, correct?
You got it, yep.
What bothers me is Georgia's defense right now, and then their offense is trying to keep up. Obviously, they could keep up against Mississippi State, couldn't keep up finally against Alabama. I've got Texas, maybe the most complete team in the country right now. I've got Texas 31, Georgia 21. Covering,
this is the only one that so far this is one where we're going to go. We're same but different on this. I do think Texas wins the game. I think it could be an absolute blueprint of the game that happened in Alabama in terms of the final score. In terms of, I don't think Texas is going to get out 31-3 or anything like that. I think Georgia will be able to score with them and vice versa. I do think Texas's time is now. That number is so big. I can't even imagine the last time Georgia was a dog by 5. You say they haven't been a dog since 21. I can't imagine I've been a dog by 5.
How about them dogs?
I think Texas wins a close one. I got Texas winning 35-31.
At 8 o'clock on the Pacific Coast is an Atlantic Coast Conference matchup between SMU and Stanford. Bo's 21st-ranked Ponies are 16.5-point favorites over the Cardinal.
These two are private schools, and that's about the only thing they have in common. Everything else would be polar opposite. SMU has been different since they made the switch to Jennings at quarterback. I think they bury Stanford in this one. I think they might hang close to 50 on them. I like SMU huge in this one.
Yeah, I like SMU 44, Stanford 24, and I guess that covers. But the bottom line is, for the exact same reasons you said, Bo, I think this SMU is real, man. They can play with a lot of people, brother.
They can. It took guts to make the change at quarterback because Preston Stone was there, and he was the returning guy, and he had a big year, but they went to Jennings, and it's been different ever since. The Big Ten slate, there's some intriguing matchups, including an opponent we will see next week in Bloomington. We'll take a look at it with further examination coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers. The people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Connection opportunity, possibility. It's what we all want. Spectrum has built a world where anything is possible, with products and services designed to work better together for a seamless connectivity experience. A connection to family and friends, a connection to education, and a connection to new opportunities. So there's no limit to how big we can dream. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited Truck Month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and fall is in the air, and that really gets me going for delicious, savory breakfast like the Bob Evans new value menu with a whole lot of fresh breakfast options for just $5.99. I love the new griddle stacker with a sausage patty, American cheese, bacon, and a fried egg. But get this, 3 mini hot cakes. You're going to love it too. Here's the best part, the price. It's right in your wheelhouse. It's in my wheelhouse. It's starting at only $7.99. Stacked high and price low. Check them out at bobevans.com or on the new mobile app.
Remember how that little girl in Poltergeist was in the TV?
They're here.
Yeah? Well, she's actually dead now. It's quite sad. Anyway, watch your favorite fan shows on your TV by subscribing to us on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan. Do it now.
Script Ohio necklaces, Blocko earrings, Ohio State bangles, and more. You'll find an exclusive collection of luxury Buckeye jewelry you'll love at the Diamond Cellar, starting at $99. Show your Buckeye love at the Diamond Cellar, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Quality, transparency, integrity, craftsmanship, and consistency. Those are the words that seem lost by many in the construction industry, but not on Newman Roofing. Because when your name is on it, it just means more. NewmanRoofing.com.
This year's starting lineup at Honda Marysville is as strong as ever, so come see us.
Choose from Ohio's largest selection of Hondas and get 0% for 60 on any new CRV, HRV, Passport, Pilot, or Ridgeline with a trade.
Honda's built here, Honda's sold here. Honda Marysville. We're closer than you think.
0% with approved credit and 80% of MSRP financed. 2010 or newer trade with KBB appraisal at $2,500 or more. Must take delivery from dealer stock 10/31/24.
There's a shocking new government report about the border crisis Sherrod Brown created. According to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, almost 500,000 convicted criminals have entered our country illegally, including nearly 30,000 found guilty of murder and sexual assault, including rape in their home countries. Now they are spread out across America because of Sherrod Brown's policies. But Sherrod Brown says,
I don't hear a lot about immigration from voters.
That's because Sherrod Brown doesn't listen to voters anymore. And while our safety is being jeopardized, Sherrod Brown is making sure illegals get taxpayer-funded benefits, like health care for illegals who get amnesty, Social Security, even COVID relief checks, all paid for by you. 31 years in Washington has changed Sherrod Brown. He's not for us anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Low energy, brain fog, or bloating? Your body might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to help your liver detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, looking at sunny skies, high 69. Not quite as cold tonight, low 42. Sunny tomorrow, high 71. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Obviously, we're pretty excited about this and can't wait for this date to get here. It's going to be a special one. Speaking, of course, and asking you, of course, to join us for an unforgettable evening. It's Tuesday, November 12th. It's High Bank Distillery in Grandview. Thrilled to invite you to the release of our exclusive fan barrel picks. I was in on these 3 distinct flavors. There's going to be something for everyone. Honestly, I think you're going to love them all. If you're a fan of whiskey, I think you're going to love them all. They're all pretty special. Proceeds benefit Brady Quinn's Third and Goal Foundation, making a difference in the lives of veterans. Enjoy exclusive barrel picks, delicious food pairings, live music, and a meet and greet with select athletes. For tickets and more information, head to 971thefan.com. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. I'm seeing these comments from Tony Bennett's retirement press conference in Virginia. He said something, Tim, that it's pretty interesting here. He says he went on a fall break. He was excited, and it really wasn't until I went on fall break when Laura and I went away and just kind of processed what the future would be, and that's where I came to the realization. And through tears, he says he no longer is the best coach to lead the program in this current environment. This part I thought was interesting, though. He says, I think it's right for student athletes to receive revenue, but the game in college athletics is not in a healthy spot. He says there needs to be a collective bargaining, caps on team spending, transfer regulations, agent regulations for players. There's still a way in this environment, but it's complicated. To admit, honestly, that I'm not equipped to be able to do it is humbling.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's doing to somebody. People who grew up in the old days, which was only like 5-8 years ago. This is such a change. In a climate, situation, and then these coaches are having an epiphany. I mean, it's either you finally come to I don't want to do this in this environment. I don't want to feel like I'm the best fit for this player, and my program's the best fit for this player, but then get outbid by $100,000 or $500,000, whatever it is, because basketball, you can change a basketball team in a heartbeat.
Oh my God!
With 2 big-time players, and I can understand that because it's like you almost got your hand out, trying to get people to get on board and give money, make it happen for you, just like it's happening at wherever else you're competing against, and that's got to be tough for a guy who pretty much got along mostly on his brains and cunning and ability to recruit the right player to fit that program. And now as there's so much more involved, it's crazy.
There's no power of roster. There's no way that you can really hold a guy accountable. I think one of the other things that folks don't realize is that, so let's say you're recruiting player X, and this is football, basketball, the two this happens most in. You're recruiting player X, and he says, well, and let's just use Ohio State as an example. Texas is offering me $750,000. There's no way to verify that.
Right. Correct.
So you have no idea. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. Who knows? You don't know if that number's real or not. Yeah. So there's no way to know what you have to offer them to be able to get them to sign on the line, which is dotted. So there's that, which is a huge problem. There's a huge problem in that right now with free transfer and the transfer window and everything else, guys can leave and come whenever they want. So if you coach a guy a little too hard, he may say, man, I'm out. This could have happened in a bowl game. This could happen in the college football playoff, Tim.
Yes.
Definitely going to happen before March Madness. Like, hey, man, I'm not in unless I get another $100K.
Right.
And then guess what has to happen? And this is the other thing that really sucks. And you got coaches, Tony Bennett, and stay with the Ohio State example, Ryan making $10 million a year. Yeah, it would be pretty easy for them to just write the check themselves for the player, right?
Yeah.
But instead, they've got to go panhandle with boosters who they've already been panhandling with for previous checks that had to be written. And so what does that do, Tim? Now, all of a sudden, the boosters have more say in the program than they ever have before.
Yeah, look who's standing on the sidelines sometimes before games and stuff, even at Ohio State. I mean, it's a different world, man. Those guys were in the, that ilk of people were in the, what do you call it, in the background way back somewhere else for major college programs just a few years ago. And now it's up to them to help you get your star player. And it's just some guys like it like that and some guys don't. I don't know how anyone would totally like it, from the standpoint of the glad handing, but it is what it is at this point. And like I've said all along, we'll bring it up with Doug maybe later. Contracts change everything. And I think the NCAA's got to get there sooner rather than later because you've got to have some kind of control or else you're just like flying a plane with parts either being added on or flying off of it as you fly. And that's not the way to feel good about your profession.
The common thread that anybody who does what Tony Bennett did, and I'm talking about Jay Wright or Nick Saban or Urban Meyer. Urban was a little bit different, but I also think that, and you know Urban better than I do. I can't imagine he could ever coach in this. But even Urban, when he was still the coach here, said the NFL model, we got to get to an NFL model. And the college basketball coach is saying the same thing. We have to have contracts.
Right.
You can't have, all right, fine, we'll give you all the money. You're worth the money. That's fine. Well, you're worth this money. You're worth more. We did wrong for a long time and made a lot of money off of y'all, and you didn't get your right cut.
Right.
Like, fine. The money changed. I get it. But there has to be some sort of contract that makes so that there's an accountability
and caps.
There has to be
contracts and caps. I mean,
then caps on coaches too.
And there
should be a cap on what a coach can make.
Yeah. I mean, in the NFL there isn't. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I'd put it in that regard, because that still has to be if you're willing to pay this guy that much money. How foolish are you? But it is what it is. But you've got to have when it comes to the playing personnel, you've got to have more of an equal playing field, because if it's just the rich get richer, well, who's Alabama or who's Ohio State or who's Texas going to play 5 years from now who's comparable? You understand what I'm saying? So you have to have that limit put on it. Yes, you can go out if you want to put $3 million on a quarterback. That means you can only put $50,000 on this defensive back. I mean, you've got to have that as part of the equation now that we're in that realm. And the only way you get that, number one, is to put people under contracts or under employment and then go from there. So that would be the first step, is you're now beholding to this university because you agreed to terms.
So this is the one, there's a lot of fly in the ointments to all of this, including the NCAA refusing to call it what it is, employees. But here's the other thing with the NFL model and the folks that talk about the NFL model. The NFL model, the owners, in this case, that would be the football program, makes 52% of the revenue. Mm-hmm. And the players get 48% of the revenue.
Yeah.
So when they're talking about $22 million to pay out over all the athletic programs at a place like Ohio State,
right?
That ain't it. Ross Bjork said he wants a $300 million athletic department. 48% of that is $150.
Yeah, but
that is 22.
But the point is, you got to pay for the facilities. You got to pay for things.
So the NFL manages it.
I know, but the NFL makes money. And you know this, Bo. The NFL makes money before they ever turn on the lights. I mean,
so does college football programs. The problem is they're not lifting up all the rest of them.
But the NFL doesn't have 35 other sports.
That's it. You just said it.
But I don't have any problem with the idea that collegiate athletics includes all these other sports. See, I mean, if you're going to divorce football
just let them be true college sports.
Well, yeah, if you're going to divorce football and basketball, men's basketball from it, I can see it. But if you're not,
that's what's got to happen.
But if you're not, I mean, Ohio State, there are a lot of people playing collegiately at Ohio State that aren't at Texas and Georgia and Alabama. They have half the number
of the sports.
Yeah. And so they're not even equal to begin with.
So then the question will be, and then we got to get to Doug. Do you still want to have all of the sports, or do you want the football program to be the big boys?
Well, that's the point.
Because that's what's coming.
Do you want to have collegiate athletics, or do you want to have NFL
college
light?
Football.
I'm not. Yeah. I still want college football to be different from the NFL. That's what I want. So
Doug's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safe Flat Auto Glass. As we watch Travion Henderson, the way he's played, and he keeps moving up the records list here at Ohio State, it has to be amazing from your standpoint to watch this young man continue to evolve his game the way he has.
Yeah, I thought he played well in the game, had some big runs, and I think that he really embraced the situation the other night and the environment and played a good game. So. We're going to need his veteran play. We're going to need his leadership as we make this last run.
Okay, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safe Flat Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love about that. Schedule at safelight.com. Safelight Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelight Repair, Safelight Replace.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Speaking of a guy with veteran play and veteran leadership, Emeka Ibuka, all of the things that he's done, and it just kind of reminds you the value of him staying healthy and what that's brought to this team this year. Is that fair read, Ryan?
Yeah, and Emeka's a clutch player. Yeah, he's one of the guys that in those moments makes clutch plays. You know, he made another clutch catch there to get us down inside the 30-yard line towards the end of the game. And in those games, you know, that's the type of play that we need to give us a chance to go win the game. So, you know, his leadership has been excellent so far. His production's been excellent. So we're going to get his feet underneath him this week and then get ready to make this run.
Yeah, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Attention, if you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, we do it every Friday at this time. But this is our good buddy Doug Lesmerises, Kings of the North. Of course, he hosts that with the great Bill Landis, and he joins on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Last week at this time, you said, I think I'm the only guy in the country picking Oregon. You nailed it. What? I did. What? It was a great game.
He was nervous.
All-time great college football game. I think we can all say that, Doug. What did you learn about the two teams from the game? Was there anything that surprised you about the two teams that played in that game last Saturday night?
So, right, we've all been looking at this all week. To me, it's a little bit like a piece of art that you can change your mind about the game, I think, by the angle at which you look at it. So initially, like, my reaction is like, that's two great teams. There's not going to be many offenses Ohio State faces that have a veteran quarterback and skilled receivers like that. They both went at it. That was a tough place to play. Somebody had to lose. Then I got to a little bit of like, okay, Ohio State maybe didn't get over the top plays the way Oregon did, especially with the 12 men on the field, especially with the line drive kick to steal a possession, that kind of thing. Then I think you can get to, hey, late game, fourth quarter stuff. Like, there's some bad stats in the fourth quarter of these big games. Ohio State doesn't score, the opposition always does. And I think that was real. But then at the end, yesterday I'm looking at it, both teams had 4 touchdowns. Both teams had 3 punts. Both teams kicked a field goal. Oregon kicked one more. Oregon got stopped on downs. Ohio State had a turnover. Like, I'm a little bit back toward that's a coin flip game. That was a tough place to play. Good teams lose to good teams. And I don't know that I'm pulling a ton out of it. And I still think Ohio State's in a decent spot. But my angle might change tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I would tell you what that reminds me of, but I won't. Doug, I mean, the atmosphere out there was crazy. It was actually more intense than I thought it would be based on reputation. I've only had ear-piercing sound once before in my life, and that was helping cover Ohio State at Michigan State when Magic Johnson left the game in the first half with a sprained ankle and then came walking back into Jennison Fieldhouse. And the noise was unbelievable, and we're in a press box hanging from the ceiling, and it's shaking, swaying, and I'm just going, boy, this reminds me of that. I mean, that home field advantage is crazy. What an addition! And I'm just going to ask you, what's your take on the addition of Oregon to the Big Ten now? They can hold their weight. They can swing with the biggest bully on the block, really, when you think about it now. At least I think Oregon and Ohio State are still the two best teams in the Big Ten, maybe by far. But what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, great. They're doing what we thought USC would have done.
Yes.
But I think it's great for the league. I think people have to get used to it, like NIL stuff. It's not Ohio State in the Big Ten. It's Ohio State and Oregon in the Big Ten. Obviously, everybody's talking about there's impactful transfers on both sides of the ball there. I think you could argue Derek Harmon was the best player in that game. That guy played at Michigan State last year.
Yeah.
If he doesn't rip that ball out of Quinshon Judkins' hands, Ohio State might win that game.
Yes.
That guy is a monster. So I think it's, you can look at it historically, blue blood, that kind of thing. Are they equal footing? No. Right now, are Oregon and Ohio State equal footing? It's close. It's at least close. And I think that's hard for Ohio State fans to wrap their heads around, but I think it's good. I think in the end, especially in a 12-team playoff, that's good. It's exciting, but it's also good for the league when you want to, stand up to the SEC and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I do think there's some realization of like, man, I'm telling you, if in the next 10 years, Ohio State and Oregon are 50-50 in their games, I don't know that Ohio State fans should be mad about that. And that has not been true about any team in the league for the 20 years that I've been around, right, where you would take 50-50.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an adjustment. But, do you want your conference to be strong, or do you want to be the team in your conference that kicks everybody else's butt? So I do think it's an adjustment.
I tell you what, it's just the brand. If that was USC and that game was – and USC was as good as it – let's just take the uniforms off them, put them in the Coliseum, and it's USC – it's the brand that you're right. I think you're exactly right. I think you hit on something really, really smart there. It's the Oregon brand that it's like, wait a second, we're not on equal footing with these guys. Like if it were USC, you'd say, okay, historical program like that. Okay, fine. Like it happens. But I think it's the brand of it. And they're so new to the sport in terms of being a true powerhouse that it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. Doug, from Ryan's perspective, he can't run from what the record is against similar rosters. What do you look for from him and this program, probably in 2 weeks in Happy Valley, to lead you to believe? But, of course, you're not going to really know until you play the Michigan game or you get the rematch with Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. What have you parsed through as you read his comments post-game and the stuff this week about where he's at with the program?
So I think we had a 40-minute conversation on our Kings of Columbus show this week about searching for inches, right? Yeah. And that I think the culture's good. I think the talent's good. I think the NIL's good. I think the scheme is good. I think the coaching's good. And I think even last year, you could have gone through stuff and been like, is the quarterback play good enough? Man, they got a couple assistants who aren't up to snuff. 2 years ago, we were at a point where is Ohio State going to compete in NIL? I think it's all there. I do. I don't think there's anything there. And listen, Jim Knowles got caught in a simulated pressure on a deep ball that killed him. That was a bad call in that situation. But do I think top to bottom there's a huge issue anywhere? I don't. So now it's the search for inches. So where do you get over the top? And I do think, as much as some people want to jump to Cooper stuff, it reminds me, and Tim would talk to this, it reminds me a little bit, Tim, of where Ohio State was after the 06 and 07 national title games, maybe the 08 Fiesta Bowl with Texas, maybe those games with USC, where in equal talent games with Tressel, I think you were wondering, why can't Ohio State get over the top?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a call. I think it's a moment. And I said, if I was Ryan Day, I'd be telling everybody in that building, search for an inch and get back to me.
Yeah.
In your position room, fine, because if you take away the 12 men and you take away the kick that stole a possession,
yeah,
Ohio State might win. So, where's and when you think of Ohio State's great games, can you think in the Ryan Day era, the close games? Can you think of the moment where they stole something?
Yeah.
Where there was, and it doesn't have to be a trick play, but it's stealing. And I think you have to. It's Tressel lining up Ted Ginn Jr. at tight end against Michigan. It's the receiver pass from Evan Spencer to Michael Thomas in the Alabama semifinal. Where has that been?
Yeah.
And if you're there, that's in the margins, brother. That means you're doing a lot of other things right. But that's where I think they are.
Yeah, but those are almost happenstance. But the point is, a guy makes.
I don't know that they're happenstance.
No. I'm talking about somebody making a play at the right moment. I mean, I keep thinking about.
I'm not even saying a player make a play. I'm talking about a call.
Oh, I'm with you.
I'm talking about a call.
I'm with you.
A coach stealing it in.
Yeah, like the Georgia game when Lathan slipped and the guy had the easy touchdown down the left sideline. That ignited Georgia's comeback there in that fourth quarter.
Call. I think you've got to make.
Well, it's still it's a call because you don't have any help over the top for Lathan on that play. I mean, it was a call to go after Georgia, and it just like with Denzel Burke, the play you're talking about, where they all of a sudden two linebackers are rushing instead of a defensive lineman who've dropped into coverage, and a couple of them almost ran into each other. That's a call that sets you up for failure if the other team executes. And that's exactly what the other team did. So, yeah, that is a call for sure. And but I'm with you. I mean, I see what you're saying there. But it's in the moment. It's almost like you've got to live these moments. These moments have to become deja vu to you. Not, oh my goodness, what's this? And I mean, it's.
Go ahead, Doug.
I do think that. I think Ryan believes in his team so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think he believes in the talent and believes in his players, and I think he believes. If we play our game and we execute with the talent we have, we'll win.
Yes.
And I think that's good to have that faith. But I think maybe it's been proven out you need it. You need 1% more.
But the drop snap, the drop snap, so, the rip the ball out of Quinshon Judkins' hand, and the onside kick were huge at Oregon the other night.
And so was the call in the first series that went against Oregon, where they call it a catch and it's an interception. So you can't play that game.
Goes for it.
No, it's the same.
An open receiver
they looked at it.
Of course, it's the same. It's the same. It's not a catch by any measure. It's not a catch.
Well, they still looked at it and awarded it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not. We all know it's not a catch. It's
that's like Denzel Burke at the goal line.
Doug, good stuff. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, I didn't get my invite for the co-host spot. I guess only it went to Tim. That's okay.
You had so many shows. You want in? You're in.
Yeah.
I'm on the porch in my pajamas right now, brother. I'm there whenever you call.
The great Doug Lesmerises. Thanks, buddy. All right, we hit three things on a Football Friday up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Join me on Tuesday, November 12th, High Bank in Grandview. We're going to celebrate the release of our exclusive High Bank 97.1 The Fan whiskeys. Each barrel hand-selected by yours truly. Get your tickets today at 971thefan.com, benefiting our friends at the Third and Goal Foundation.
It's Rocktober, baby! Yeah!
It's October at Lindsay Honda.
Just announced for the rest of October, we're lowering the finance rate to 0.9% on every new Lindsay Honda. And you still get the Lindsay Honda difference. A $1,295 value package included with every vehicle purchase.
This is it.
Turn up the noise with Lindsay Honda.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24 and 25 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
QC Kinetics not only has the latest non-invasive treatments for joint pain relief, but they also have one of the most respected names in sports medicine, serving as their medical director. That's Dr. Ray Tesner.
As the founder of Sports Medicine Grant and a classically trained orthopedic surgeon, it's exciting to be involved with the latest advances in regenerative medicine and QC Kinetics.
Well, QC Kinetics is making a huge difference in the quality of my life and others as well.
As folks already know, Bobby Carpenter and Sat Sullinger are sports legends in Columbus. QC Kinetics has already made a big difference in their lives, and also for Bobby's father, Rob Carpenter, a 10-year NFL veteran.
And the QC Kinetics team are seasoned medical professionals.
One of the cool things about being the medical director of QC Kinetics is the privilege I have of working with our staff, who have 15 years of experience in regenerative medicine.
You could be next. Go to QCkinetics.com/Columbus and call QC Kinetics today for your complete complimentary consultation, 380-208-4544.
This is Ryan Krieger, and at Krieger Ford, we know life's busy. Let us handle your car care. Enjoy our convenient pickup and delivery service, or have our technicians come to you with our mobile service van. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Schedule your appointment today, only at KriegerFord.com.
There's nothing like having Common Man and T-Bone resting on your bosom.
Oh, for someone with no breasts, you've done very well for yourself.
Gross. Pick up the latest T-shirt in the fan store or pick up merch from a show you actually like. We even have Ohio State and jacket stuff. Head to 971thefan.com.
Hey, it's Anthony. Do more with your money at Tel-Ohio Credit Union. If you know Tel-Ohio Choice Checking, you know all the perks that come with your account. Cash in your benefits by setting up an account today. Find out more at telohio.org.
Certain restrictions apply. Tel-Ohio is open to all in Central and Southwestern Ohio. Federally insured by NCUA.
Nothing makes being outdoors better than having the right gear and the right crew. So here's an idea. Let Mountain Dew supply the gear and you bring the friends. Because when you buy specially marked multi-packs of Mountain Dew, you can collect points and earn epic limited edition outdoor gear. We're talking everything from custom Mountain Dew camp chairs and backpack coolers to exclusive Mountain Dew tents, fishing boats, and more. So buy Dew, collect points, get gear, and get outside with Mountain Dew outdoor gear.
Open to legal U.S. residents 18+. Subject to program terms at dewoutdoors.com and 12/31/24. Void or prohibited.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Hey, Bobby Carpenter here from Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, announcing our $99 home preventative maintenance checkup. Carpenter and Bryant will do whatever it takes to get you ready for the fall and winter ahead. Check us out at carpentercolumbus.com. That's carpentercolumbus.com.
Integrity, honesty, and quality. Words we live by here at Monogram Homes. Hi, this is Dina, and at Monogram Homes, we strive to bring your wants to your man cave, your needs to your kitchen, and your ideas to life. Most home builders claim to be custom, but starting with stock floor plans and templates isn't our idea of a tailored experience. At Monogram Homes, we start with a blank slate and work with you until you get exactly what you want. So start your true custom home journey today with a builder you can trust. Monogram Homes. Visit us online at monogramhomes.net.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have on the poll?
The Daily Fan poll asks, do you think Ohio State fans are cordial and welcoming to opposing fans? We're close to 400 votes. It's split 50-50.
I think it's a summer. Some are, some aren't.
Yeah, I think it's more so than most. I've been to places where it's really not hospitable at all.
Yes.
I mean, it seems like I remember when Tom Osborne came in here, and obviously he wasn't the coach at the Nebraska at the time, but he was in their athletic department, or he may have been in the government at that time, but he came the first time, and Nebraska came through, and I remember Ohio State fans being incredibly welcoming to them. And Nebraska has a reputation of being incredibly welcoming to opposing fans. I've never seen anything too bad here.
Yeah, I agree. It's the individual, right? I mean, it's the individuals can ruin it all. I mean, Oregon, man, I really enjoyed my time at Oregon. They were nice people, man, at least to me. And by the way, I wanted to throw one other thing in there about Oregon. You talk about quality facilities. I know you already knew this, Bo, but when they came into the Big Ten, they were loaded. They were loaded for bear, both in facilities and in roster and personnel and coaching staff. I mean, that's what really, whereas USC is not yet back.
No, and it's also pretty remarkable that they had to beg, borrow, and steal to get in.
Yes.
I mean, what if we wouldn't have let them? And what if they were in the Big 12 right now?
We're trying to capture that L.A. market, I mean, whatever that means.
Bunch of nonsense. The same way they captured the New York market with Rutgers all those years ago.
Bingo.
All right, time for three things on a Friday. Hit it, Reese.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
Now, number one for me, a very sad end to the saga. I really thought we were trending towards the 8-year-old Bootsy actually being Burt Reynolds and Smokey and the Bandit for Halloween. I had prepped him. I was buying him a cowboy hat and all sorts of different things that I was trying to get him to do it. I was even going to go as Buford T. Justice. Would have been great. He was concerned that his friends might not know who Smokey and the Bandit was. I said, well, it's all right. I think it's going to be a win. And eventually he folded, and he's going to be Tigger instead. Tigger's great. I mean, Tigger's awesome. I like it. He's bouncing around. But, I mean, God, buddy, I told him, like, dude, if you would have been the Bandit, we would have done a fake mustache, all of it. It would have set it off, man.
My two grandsons were Luigi and Mario last year. And it was the cutest things you ever saw.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, my first one is I get to see Owen play flag football again on Sunday morning. If you've never seen flag football with 5-year-olds, it is awesome because now they're starting to get it. Just when the season's going to be coming to an end, they're starting to get it. But he got the champion's belt a couple of times already this year, and he's pretty fired up about it.
Sunday morning at Wembley, the Jaguars are going to be playing the Patriots in yet another NFL London game for Jacksonville. But earlier today, so I guess this would have been the afternoon in England, Patriots quarterback Drake May was asked why English fans should support the Patriots. His answer, quote, "First off, I think it comes with the name, New England," end quote.
Wow. So. I like that kid. Dated the same girl since 7th grade. Pretty amazing. Yeah. Pretty remarkable thing. Number 2 for me. So my oldest, NBC is 12 now, but he thinks he's 26 apparently. He's and I told him how stupid all this is. He's now, quote, dating a girl from another town. So I told the story a couple weeks ago. I said, why don't you just say you're dating Sydney Sweeney? Like, what difference does it make? You're never going to see her. Like, how stupid are you to date somebody from another town? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So he goes on with it anyway, and he says, it's going to work out. So anyway, he's got a girlfriend. He's dating a girl from another town. Now, it's the neighboring town. No names, please. But it's the neighboring town. But nevertheless, like, an automobile is going to be a requirement because you're not going to see her at school. So he had a sleepover last night because, of course, they don't have school today. God knows why. And he tells my wife, he goes, yeah, me and my bud are going to meet our girlfriends at the Starbucks, and they're going to walk to the high school football game in this town next to us.
Wow.
Come again? You're going to do what?
You better check the bus schedules. You better check those bus schedules, buddy.
How, pray tell, are you going to get there, sir? How? I was teasing the other day. I'm like, in the old days, they had those ride-on cars. Right. Like, you want me to get the little GMC out? You can drive that over there if you want. Just drive on the side of the road like Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber.
I used to take my dad Studebaker out when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. He didn't know it. At least I don't think he knew it because he never jumped me about it. But Studebaker Flight Hawk, baby. 3 on the tree. Mine would be my day tomorrow starts with a scramble golf tournament. Which, nice. What a way to get that day going. My number 3 is going to be the rest of my day here in a minute, but my number 2 is golf scramble. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Should be good weather for it.
Yes.
So Sunday at 1, the Bills are going to be playing at the Titans. Sean McDermott said this morning they expect Amari Cooper to play. So he'll have, 6 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown.
He's scoring.
That's a bingo.
It's fine. Guardians play tonight at 8.
It's tough. I mean, with the way Baker's playing and Flacco's playing. And now, the one thing I'll say on Baker, I do not believe there's any chance he would have played that way in Cleveland. He had to, remember, Carolina punted on him, too. So, it wasn't like he was this. He was a pretty broken guy, and he needed to kind of be humbled, and he has. And he's playing great, and I'm really happy.
My wife's favorite quarterback in the league right now is Baker Mayfield, has been for a while.
Flacco would have been. Flacco is kind of they would be 4-2 with Flacco.
He likes his third life.
Yeah, he's gotten one. Finally, for me, this is a gorgeous weekend. It might be our last absolutely pristine, perfect weekend before we get into the late fall and then eventually into winter. I'm making a vow. I'm going to get outside. I'm going to play golf with the boys for sure. I'm going to play some hoops as well. I'm only going to watch Texas, Georgia start to finish. I'll paratroop in on the rest of it, but I said I'm going to 7:30 Texas, Georgia. Other than that, I'm going to be outside and living, and then just kind of keeping an eye on college football from afar.
Oh, we are. You could be I guess you could be my son.
That's right.
You could almost be my grandson, really, when you think about it. But yeah, I start with golf tomorrow. But my number 3 is nobody bother me because I'm gonna have two televisions going like I usually do. But when you talk about a lineup, tonight with Oregon playing and getting to see them back it up, so to speak. Miami at Louisville, are you kidding me? And then Michigan, watching Michigan, Illinois, while I'm also watching Alabama at Tennessee, third Saturday in October. Boy, that still lives despite all the changes. And of course, Georgia, Texas. Boy, you saw this coming 10 months ago, and here it is.
Yep. Don't forget 3:30. You can do this on your phones. Ohio at Miami. That game's on ESPN Plus. So
there
if you
you
have
go.
Disney or Hulu, that can be accessible if you're so interested. Rothman and Ice are up next from 12 to 3. The basketball Buckeyes are on the Fan tonight at 6. They're going to play Cincinnati in that exhibition. We'll have fan coverage again 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock will be the tip there for Jake Diebler's squad.
Battle for the bricks, right?
Yep.
Or of the bricks.
You're fighting for bricks.
Bricks
are
fighting
for bricks. There you go. All right, good stuff. We're back Monday. Thanks, Tim, as always. Great job out of you, Reese, as well. We are back on Monday. Rothman and Ice coming up next. Fish and Friends right here on The Fan.
The only show where sports talk is eclipsed by food talk.
Oh, nuts.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
Download the Prime Sports Ohio app today or visit primesportsbook.com and use the promo code JUSTSPORTS for a welcome bonus of up to $100. The updated national championship odds have Texas as the slight favorite at 4-1, with Georgia and Ohio State both at plus 450. Oregon is plus 550 with Alabama 10-1 and Penn State 12-1. For your Prime Sports Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
This year's starting lineup at Honda Marysville is as strong as ever, so come see us.
Choose from Ohio's largest selection of Hondas and get 0% for 60 on any new CR-V, HR-V, Passport, Pilot, or Ridgeline with the trade.
Honda's built here, Honda's sold here. Honda Marysville. We're closer than you think.
0% with approved credit and 80% of MSRP financed. 2010 or newer trade with KBB appraisal at $2,500 or more. Must take delivery from dealer stock 10/31/24.
We've seen it before. Politicians and lobbyists playing games, drawing voting maps to keep power in their hands, not ours. Courts have ruled Ohio's voting districts unconstitutional 7 times, while our communities have been left out again and again. But this November, you have a chance to change that with Issue 1. Issue 1 will make it illegal for politicians to manipulate voting districts for themselves or their own party. Instead, it creates an open, transparent process where a diverse group of citizens, not politicians, will draw the lines. No more backroom deals, no more gerrymandering, just fairer maps that represent our communities. Issue 1 gives you and me the power to ensure everyone's vote counts. This is about real change, a chance to end the games and make our voices heard. So vote yes on Issue 1, fair representation, and power to the people. Paid for by citizens, not politicians.
Attention, if you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
FX presents American Sports Story. Aaron Hernandez.
Football is all I got. Everything's okay when I'm playing ball.
You can't make mistakes, Aaron. People are watching you.
From executive producer Ryan Murphy.
Is there something that you want to tell me?
You don't know the kind of thoughts I have.
FX's American Sports Story. Aaron Hernandez. All new Tuesday.